Easily. Thank you. Question, please. On segment 2, when it comes to Ken and Ned on the roof, does that start over a beauty shot or come direct to us? Oh, good, okay. And then number 2, does the conversation about what goes on in the break happen over the graphics, or does it happen at the completion of the 3-page? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and out of that, thank you.
Okay, hello, test 1, 2, 3. Should be talking about this level, okay?
Bob Stenner?
Yes.
Could I have a crowd shot to start that segment 2, and I can say something to that before it comes to Ned and I on the... Hello? Hello? Hello, hello. I got you. No, it'll be very tight. But some...
How about that?
10 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. He'll say that's the first time he ever had an equal car.
Ready for a race for winners only.
1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Lots of money, lots of prestige, no points, and just go out there and race hard. Have a lot of fun.
Let's take a look at the foreman.
Different. Yeah? Yeah, we're just trying to pick out a good shot here. How do you like this? It's different.
Now, because I don't need to hold on to the back here. Hold. Yes, sir. Let everybody know I'm holding it for
Extra duty.
Squire.
Squire. You're so big you deserve to be floated. I'm the only one that knows how to spell it.
Putting anyone in CBS.
Bob, relay this through Chris. Are you going to open on a wide shot out of the tape showing the whole compound? Let Chris know that. Does he, Chris?
Flat David would like an answer. If you
Three. Yep. We're getting close.
We're like going to be live. Wow. Exciting.
listen.
First time broadcast, Steven? I know you did all that cable access stuff.
Hello, hello. Oh, there I am. Yes. We're coming on and off here on program. I hear you now. But you were asking me something. I heard you, but yeah, okay, right. David wants to know if you're going to open on a wide shot. Yes, you are.
Okay, then, Bob, have everyone else stay off their microphones or Eric off his key when you cue him. And then you can cue him again when to say, hello, I'm Chris Economaki, I'm on camera. Let Chris know the answer.
But in the 10-minute break,
okay, fine.
Winston,
say what?
They don't have that big.
It's All-Star Sunday in Charlotte, and stock car racing's best and brightest are about to take part in a short dash for the cash, the Winston, which comes down to 20 laps for $200,000. But this is not only about money, this is about pride and performance. That's why behind these superstar smiles lie major league doubts, struggle, pressure. You don't usually associate those words with Richard Petty, but today you do, for King Richard is not in this year's All-Star race, not yet. It was a lot nicer day when baseball's Ernie Banks said, "Let's play two." But that's what we're going to try to do here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Economaki, and we're moments away from sending this field out on a unique race. For the first, second, and third place finishers will not have time to savor their performance. For moments after they take the checkered flag, they'll be lining up to face the green flag in racing's all-star game, the Winston, the exclusive province of winners, and there are 17 of them here standing, waiting and watching to see which three of these drivers will join them later today. And Richard Petty hopes he's one of them. Right now, he's down the track with our Mike Joy.
Well, thank you, Chris. Richard, they wouldn't let you run in the Retired Legends race today, and you're not in the All-Star race. You're kind of in the twilight zone.
Yeah, I think we're getting close to that retirement race, though. It looks pretty good out there, Mike.
He wouldn't. Don't make. Thoughts of Richard Petty, who will be one of the drivers in the Open. 3 of them will transfer with this elite group. 17 of NASCAR's best and most recent winners that'll run this afternoon in the Winston. Ken Squire will have a look at the Winston Open lineup when we come back to Charlotte.
Well, you really know how to build confidence.
In his last. This is 2 races for him, his first and his last. Yes? Right here. Yeah. expensive phallic symbol fail? It's All-Star Sunday in Charlotte, and stock car racing's best and brightest are about to take part in a short dash for the cash, the Winston, which comes down to 20 laps for $200,000. But this is not only about money, this is about pride and performance. That's why behind these superstar smiles lie major league doubts, struggle, pressure. You don't usually associate those words with Richard Petty, but today you do. For King Richard is not in this year's All-Star race. Not yet. It was a lot nicer day when baseball's Ernie Banks said, let's play two. And that's what we plan to do at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Economaki, and we're only moments away from sending this field out in a unique race, because the drivers finishing first, second, and third will have no time to savor their performance. For moments after taking their checkered flag, they'll face the green flag in racing's all-star game, the Winston, the exclusive province of winners. And there's 17 of them standing and watching here to see which of the three drivers in this race will join them later today. Richard Petty hopes he's one of them. He's with our Mike Joy down the pit road now.
Well, thank you, Chris. Richard, they wouldn't let you run in the race of retired legends. You're not retired. You're the sport's all-time winner, but you're going to have to fight your way into the all-star race. You're kind of in the twilight zone today.
Well, yeah, I've been that way for the last 7, 8 years, I think. But, you know, we're still trying. We're still having a lot of fun doing it. And as long as we do that, we'll probably keep on doing it for a while.
This is not a points race. It's a good money race. Is it a fun race?
Well, I'm trying to get the boys to consider it more of a fun race, because that's what I'm looking at it from. But they get pretty serious when they get to working on the car, and they want me to run up a little bit faster. So, you know, what I've been trying to do is tell them that maybe we can tune it up a little bit today to get ready for the 600. Maybe that'll work out pretty good.
Okay, that's the World 600 next weekend. Richard Petty hopes to be one of the three drivers who will transfer to the All-Star race. 17 of them are standing around watching to see what happens in this Winston Open. The 17 best and most recent winners in the sport that'll square off in the Winston later this afternoon. When we return to Charlotte, Ken Squire and Ken Jarrett will have a look at the field for the Winston Open.
This CBS Sports Special, The Winston.
In the grid, or shall we say this is how they've qualified? Will it be in? Thank you. Can you push in past the empty seats to make that shot work for me?
This CBS Sports Special, The Winston, is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. And by Fram, Bendix, and Autolite. Quality products of Allied Signal.
This crowd has been tested by the worst weather forecast they've ever had for this event, and it is the largest crowd that has ever gathered at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're out to see a race for winners only, winners and drivers. Drivers and owners from the past year, all participating for nearly $1 million, and no one can speak to it better than this 50-time winner, my colleague, Ned Jarrett.
Well, it is stock car racing's all-star event. No pressure, no points involved here, just big money and a lot of prestige, and as Richard Petty said, a lot of fun.
Let's take a look at the format they're going to be running today. There's 134 laps in this Winston Open, 200 miles. It's a 29-car field now, and 3 cars will transfer into the Winston. A 20-car field set sail there. In segment 1, they'll run 50 laps, 75 miles, then a quick 10-minute break, and then it's down to it. $200,000 to the winner of that second segment of competition. The purse today in this specific event comes to $875,000, $50,000 to the winner of segment 1 of the Winston, and $200,000 in segment 2, and the event we're about to see pays $30,000. And those breaks are really important, Ned.
They are very important. Now, the 3 drivers who advance to the Winston have a little more liberty as far as what they can do to their cars. They can change springs, they will change tires, they could even change shock absorbers, and of course they'll tune the engines to perfection also. But in the 10-minute break, during the Winston, as they get ready to fire the engines down on pit road, they can only tune the engines, change the tires, maybe make adjustments to the chassis, but they can't change gears and springs and things of that nature.
The command to fire the engines has been given. Let's take a look at the starting grid. In row number 1, Michael Waltrip, qualified fastest. Sterling Marlin, twice the winner of the Open, is along beside him. Then Terry Labonte, who won the Winston a few years back, is in row 2 with Rick Mast. Going to row number 3 today, Greg Sachs is there in Lake Speed. In row 4, Pennsylvania's Jimmy Spencer and Florida's Rick Wilson. For row number 5 today, Jim Sonner and the 7-time Winston Cup champion Richard Petty. Row 6, the state of Washington's Chad Little and Hutch Strickland from Alabama. In row number 7, it's Bobby Hamilton from Tennessee, Dave Marcus from Wisconsin. Row 8, Dale Jarrett in the Wood Brothers car, and a 2-time Grand National champion Larry Pearson. Row number 9 is Stan Smith from Alabama, Dick Trickle, who won this Winston Open a year ago by about 3 feet. Row 10 is Joe Ruttman and Jimmy Means. Row 11 today, Ted Musgrave and Eddie Bierschwell from Texas. Then it's Jeff Purvis and Mark Stahl in row number 12. Going to row 13, Kerry Teague makes his first Winston Open start, and alongside the veteran J.D. McDuffie. Wally Dallenbach makes his 3rd Winston Cup race appearance in 1991. Randy Baker beside him. So that's how they line up, with Mickey Gibbs rounding out the field. Mickey Gibbs qualifying for the shotgun position. Motors are getting warmed up. Drivers are red hot, ready for 3 qualifying positions in the Winston Open.
I got you, Bob. You're going to Squire and then Squire coming to me?
You want a 2-shot or you want a single, David?
Yes, sir. Right. Right. What's the field rolling out for the Winston Open to qualify the final 3 positions in the Winston for 1991. Joining our CBS staff for the broadcast of the Winston, we're delighted to have an 18-time Winston Cup winner here and winner twice of the 600. Neil Bonnet is standing by with a very important driver for the main event of the day.
Thank you, Ken. We're here with Davey Allison. Davey's on the pole for the Winston. His car's ran good ever since he's been here. You're setting in good shape, Davey.
Well, Neil, we really are. Our car's been working real good. Larry and all the guys on the crew have been working real hard. We feel like we got a good shot at putting our Texaco Havoline Thunderbird in victory lane today.
You know, these guys are fixing to run the Winston Open, and 3 of these guys are trying to get in the race, but I know it's of interest to you. You want to watch this thing and see if there's something you can learn about your car.
Well, you know, with the rain coming down last night as hard as it did, the track's green again, and I'd like to watch and see what happens if the track comes back around to where it was yesterday, or if it stays tight or gets loose, or what's going to happen. Maybe we can learn something to be ready to make a couple quick adjustments.
Well, wish you the best, Davey. Good luck.
Thank you, Neil.
Back to you, Ken.
Well, it's a cold day. It was up in the 90s yesterday, Ned, and now with the temperatures today well down due to these race cars.
Well, 57 degrees, and that is considerably cooler, and it could make a big difference in the chassis setup of the cars. I'm sure that the engine builders and those who tune the engines know what adjustments they needed to make to the cars to adhere to the conditions that we have here today. But the chassis, that's sort of a hit and miss situation.
8 Oldsmobiles, 7 Pontiacs, 5 Fords, 5 Chevys, 4 Buicks getting ready to ramble. Let's go to Chris Economaki.
Well, the fans have put up with an awful lot today. The weather has been brutal here in Charlotte. Yesterday it was 95.5 here, and now it's in the low 60s. A dramatic change in the weather. 57 degrees right now, the thermometer says, and this has made the car owners have a lot of work to do since they practiced yesterday in extremely hot weather. Now they're racing in extremely cold weather. We'll talk to you more about that a little bit later on. In the meantime, the fans have been here since early this morning. The rain let up just a little bit ago. These are really hardy race fans. We like to see them here at Charlotte. Back to you, Ken.
Indeed, they are hardy race fans. Let's take a look at the track over which they're going to be running today, these 29 cars in the Winston Open. Bank some 24 degrees in the turns, 5 degrees here in the dog leg directly down below us at the start-finish line and in the backstretch area. Mile-and-a-half track that always provides great competition. Bobby Hamilton, number 68, earned the 13th starting spot today, but he had a practice crash yesterday, so his colors are coming out of the back of the field.
Yes, when you go to a backup car after qualifying, you do have to start at the rear of the field. Of course, that just moved the inside line up. And well, we see the cars coming down pit road now. I think they're going to take this lap down pit road, Ken, just simply to try to dry the surface on pit road.
Tell you again that all morning long we had a steady rain here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Big question as to whether we would get this event in, but we did indeed. And a few moments ago, they completed a race for the legends, some of the great racing stars. How come Ned Jarrett wasn't in that?
Well, I had a little bit of a problem, Ken. I have a back problem, and it's not the yellow streak up my back. I decided, the doctor and I, that I should not get in that race.
Incidentally, we're hearing from NASCAR that the reason they came down the pit road was so they could see exactly what their tax would be at 55 miles an hour, because there are new rules.
There are. In fact, when they make a pit stop during a caution, they cannot exceed 55 miles an hour down pit road. As a matter of fact, even during green flag pit stops, they're not supposed to go over 55 miles an hour.
And they have to stay right up on the nose of the pace car, which would be out on the track.
And he'll be running at that speed as well, so they cannot get in front of him.
Light is off on the pace car, and we're ready to go racing at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 134 laps. There will be one stop for fuel in this event as the field comes down out of turn number 4 off the 24-degree banking, and we get set for green. Michael Waltrip up in front carrying one of our onboard cameras as they come to the line. Because of the weather, there's some problems with onboard cameras today. Here's Waltrip streaking off out in front. Sterling Marlin, who put on one of the greatest shows in the history of this track in 1988, goes to second. He came from out back from 11th spot in this open event to win it. Then came into the Winston itself, and from the rear came all the way to second position.
He likes this racetrack, Sterling Marlin does. He has had some very good runs here. He finished second in the Coca-Cola 600 here a year ago, now already working on Michael Waltrip, who did get a good start.
Michael Waltrip first. Sterling Marlin in second. As they peel off down into turn number 1, Terry Labonte maintaining third. Rick Masters in fourth. Greg Sachs fifth. Lake Speed sixth, and Jimmy Spencer runs in the 7th position. Battle for the lead. Somebody slowing down.
Rick Wilson in car number 8 slowed dramatically as he went into turn 1. He went high on the racetrack, but boy, he was fortunate not to get run over.
Was well up in the front, and the Stavola brothers car comes off the pace.
And he was one of those drivers that everyone felt had a good shot at getting in the top 3 so they could advance on to the Winston.
In this event, third is as important as first. 3 cars move on into that $875,000 payoff with $200,000 to the winner. See Rick Wilson pulling on a pit road, back straightaway, front 2 cars drafting away from the field.
There's a lot of action back in the field as drivers try to jockey into position, but up front, Michael Waltrip is holding off Sterling Marlin so far.
Greg Sachs finds himself up in the 4th position. Here are those 2 leaders. Michael Waltrip has had a taste of victory in the Grand National ranks of NASCAR, still looking for his first Winston Cup win. Back straightaway.
Sterling won a 300-mile Grand National race here a year ago. Here's Richard Petty right in the middle of a battle. That's the famous car number 43 running in front of Hut Strickland in car number 12.
Just behind Jimmy Sauter. That's a battle for 7th. Richard Petty in the 8th position, trying to close on Jim Sauter. And the number 66 car is the machine that won this event a year ago, with Lake Speed now at the controls, replacing Dick Trickle.
Marlin still trying to move up on Michael Waltrip, but once he hauled back up to him, he hasn't been able to do much with him.
Pontiac Ford Oldsmobile, 1, 2, 3. Five laps complete.
And you mentioned they would have to make at least 1 pit stop. I talked to many of the crew chiefs in the garage area yesterday, and not many thought they could go this thing on 1 stop. That means they have to go a full 100 miles on a tank of fuel, and they thought it would be stretching it to do that.
None of that Harry Gant magic from Talladega?
Well, I suspect there'll be a few on the side. Of course, they would need to go caution-free all the way for them to even have to worry about that part.
Chris Economaki is by with one of the favorites for the Winston.
I'm here with Darrell Waltrip, winner of the first Winston. Darrell, what's your brother thinking about right now out front?
Well, he's got a little bit of a luxury here that nobody's had before, Chris. All he got to do is finish in the top 3. He's in the race. So right now, I talked to him and Sterling both for the race. They said if we can run first and second and shoot it out at the end, that's what they figured on doing. So they're in pretty good shape. Both of them, they're pulling away from everybody else.
How important is the Winston in a driver's career?
Well, anytime, Chris, that there's a race that has any type of prestige or associated with our sport whatsoever, you want your name in the win column at least once. So it's real important to win at one time. If you, if you sit down when you're 55, 60 years old and talk about all the things you did when you were driving.
There you go. Thanks very much, Darrell. Good luck to you later today.
Darrell's real serious about pulling this one off, and they looked tremendous in qualifying yesterday afternoon. $75,000 went to the man to be on the pole, Davey Allison, for his qualifying effort here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Looking further back in the field, there you see the 94, which is Terry Labonte running in 3rd, and Rick Mast in 4th, number 1, Greg Sachs in 5th, and that's been a pretty fair fight.
It has been a good race. Of course, that's the bubble race right now. It's a little bit early in this race to be too concerned about that. Here's Rick Mast trying to go on the outside, but Labonte moves up and closes the groove off. Labonte will hold on to that 3rd spot. Mast now trying on the inside. He tried it on the outside. Now he goes to the inside. That's a Richard Jackson car, and he gets a little bit loose. Terry Labonte moved up and gave him room to slide a little bit, Ken, or they could have come together and made major problems there.
Rick Mast with his first regular ride in Winston Cup racing this year in the car number 1 for Richard Jackson. Here's the 94 coming right back to the inside to challenge. Down to the inside, Terry Labonte. That's a good scramble. On pit road, Neil Bonnet has the story.
Ken, we're here with Harry Hyde. Rick Wilson fell out, and it's a crazy thing that happened. What happened to the car?
Well, we've been over here for a week, and
Nobody could predict it, but the end of the crankshaft just broke off. So it just vibrated and quit, and nothing to do about it. I guess if you stay in this business long enough, it'll all finally happen to you.
Sooner or later, everything will break, Harry.
I hope. Well,
Car number 8, that's the story on why Rick Wilson and the Stavola Brothers car has been retired in the early going. Michael Waltrip now pulling away.
Yes, he has opened up about a 10-car length lead over Sterling Marlin.
Pontiac pulling forward. Oldsmobile running 3rd, 4th, 5th, and Hutch Strickland's Buick is now in 6th.
Hut has moved, since we saw he and Richard Pettit a little earlier, he has moved around Petty and has moved away from him. Here's the car number 19 of Chad Little, and the battle between Dale Jarrett in car number 21 and Joe Ruckman in car number 75. Jimmy Spencer right behind them.
That's 10th place on Chad Little. Standings coming up after 11 laps. And remember, only 3 will progress into the Winston. Right now it would be Waltrip, Marlin, and Rick Mast. Marlin, for the moment, is getting a couple of car lengths back.
Yeah, he's losing just a little bit each lap. And Rick Mast is pretty far back from the 1st and 2nd place cars, but once he moved away from Terry Labonte, there we see Terry Labonte, who is running 4th in car number 94, and Greg Saxon, number 47, is running in the 5th place, and now number 6, the car number 12 is running 6th. That's Hutch Strickland. He's running very fast right now, Ken.
In the Bobby Allison car. Down the main straightaway. Here come the leaders through. Let them all run through so you get an opportunity to see the interval here on some of your favorites that are running in the Winston Open. 29 cars starting this event, 1 retiree thus far. Rick Wilson out in the early going. Michael Waltrip setting a really hard pace.
Actually, Ken, there were 30 cars that qualified for it, but Mike Skinner of Randleman, North Carolina, over in Richard Petty country, had a misfortune with his car and had to withdraw.
The other car running slowly, bottom of the racetrack. Be a 2nd retiree from the event. Michael Waltrip in front. Sterling Marlin in 2nd. So Bahari Racing, for the moment, looks strong with 14 laps in the book. The standings look like this in the Winston Open, qualifying for the Winston. Waltrip, Marlin, Mast, 1, 2, 3, Labonte and Sachs just outside. No, I don't believe so. What do you think, man?
No, Mike.
Ooh, it's hot.
Well, it was.
Is there any way you can save just that much? That'd be great. Thanks.
I'm hearing interrupt yet. And right now I've lost program.
Oh, 51 out of control. We got a crash in turn 1.
Actually, front straightaway towards turn 1.
He's on fire, yeah. Jeff Purvis's car. He was in 20th.
Okay, we're going to come back now to Ken Squire. Ken, you're going to tell us we're live here. We're under caution.
Mm-hmm.
We'll show you a replay. We have 30 seconds back.
Mm-hmm.
25.
19 laps are complete. We are under caution. Jeff Purvis has just crashed across the start-finish line, grazed the wall, spun out into turn number 1.
He hit the outside retaining wall, Ken, and then spun to the inside of the track just at the entrance of turn number 1.
The former dirt racing champion and all-pro competitor. Last year he came back from 3 laps down at Myrtle Beach. And that is Neil Bonnett's car, number 51, that has had this incident that has brought out the first caution of the day. Happened at lap 18, 27 miles into this 134-mile, 134-lap, 200-mile event.
And as we can see, he got out of the car okay. He has been taken, or is being taken, to the infield care center for a checkover, but that is mandatory by NASCAR as the wrecker pulls his Chevrolet away.
Lake Speed's car has also gone behind the wall. The number 66 of Lake Speed has gone back to the garage area. Let's join Chris Economack. We'll get to Chris in just a moment. 20 laps are now complete. 20 are on the board of the 134 laps to be run on this 1.5-mile track. A very cool day after temperatures in the 90s a day ago. Michael Waldrop commands the race. Second position belongs to Sterling Marlin, with Rick Mass third, Terry Labonte fourth, Greg Stacks fifth, Hut Strickland is sixth, Jimmy Sauter in seventh, Richard Petty is in eighth, Chad Little ninth, Joe Ruttman 10th, Jimmy Spencer is 11th, Dale Jarrett is in 12th. Let's try once again to reach Chris Economack.
Well, let's hope the microphone works this time, and it sounds as though it is. We're with Rusty Wallace, the 1989 national champion and winner here 2 years ago today. Rusty, what about this cold weather and getting the car ready? Is it going to make it an easier day for you guys, or is it going to be tougher?
Well, it'll be much easier. As a driver inside the car, it won't be near as hot and probably less fatiguing, but it's going to be tough on the engine guys, and we've had an extreme difference in the weather here right now. The guys will probably have to change the jets in the carburetor, change the timing, a lot of things like that.
Okay, Rusty, you know, your career has been up and down. This was the place where 2 years ago you became the bad guy. You're not anymore. But what does that do to somebody's feeling when you come out and get introduced and the fans boo you? Is it tough to take?
Well, it was tough to take then. It's getting much, much better right now. I guess I've been out of some of the controversy lately, so it's easier. But I tell you, this is a race where if you can't stand the heat, buddy, you better not get in this kitchen, because this is a toughie. It pays a lot of money, and there's no points. We're going to have a bunch of drivers out there going for it, so the tensions are going to get real high here.
Tell me something, Rusty. Are the fans in the South fair to the drivers?
I don't know. That's a loaded question. They all want to see winners, and they want to see the car that they're pulling for a win. And if they don't like it, they don't like it. That's all there is to it. So the best thing you can do is, if you take your lump, you better just get out of the car, not say nothing, and go on. But the fans in the South, I don't think they're really any different than anybody else. They just see a lot more racing down here.
Your new partner in the car, Roger Penske, he's very public relations oriented. He doesn't like flack, I know that. Has he said anything to you about that?
Not really. He's just let me use my own judgment. You know, he doesn't like people commenting about things they shouldn't comment on. And I know what Roger wants, and what he wants is right. So, you know, I'm just going to do my best job in the car. The Miller JMF Pontiac, we won Bristol. We were on the pole there. We've had a lot of great runs, Daytona, Talladega, and I'm excited about it.
Let's take a look at the monitor, Rusty. This is a couple of years ago. There you are, number 27. That's Dal Waltrip up there. And this is what got everybody all upset. And you said it was just a sort of bit of a nudge there. Can you look back on it and reflect on that for us?
Well, looking at the camera is one thing, but I remember it turned very, very well. And I had my momentum real good going in that corner. I never got out of the throttle. I was trying to point it down, and that was just about the time Darrell was on the top of the racetrack. He had nowhere to go. And maybe I was over-aggressive. I can tell you one thing, it wasn't intentional. A lot of people thought that, and I argue to the day I die. It was just hard racing.
Rusty, the drivers race harder in the Winston than they would in a regular race.
No doubt about it. I mean, I'm fired up right now. You know, I'm real excited. My blood pressure's up. I'm ready to get in the car. I'm ready to get the job done. Yeah, you would race much, much harder. No doubt about it.
We'll be watching you in the Winston this afternoon. Thanks for coming by, Rusty Wallace. And back to you, Ken Squire.
Rusty Wallace, who will be starting in 10th position in the Winston later this afternoon, live here on CBS. Stay with us.
Jared, Marcus, Spencer. I thought we'd see some cars. Restart, we might pay attention to some of these drivers that made pit stops and changed tires. They should be able to run faster with new tires.
Hamilton's come from dead last to 14th. It's quite a while. And if you were to ISO
Yes, it could. Yep.
We're back with you once again here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway with the running of the Winston Open to qualify 3 cars for the Winston later this afternoon. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Ken, there have not been many pit stops under this caution. The cars up front preferring to stay on the track and hold track position. And that has to do with concerns about gas mileage for this race. I thought some of the leaders might come in, take on tires and fuel, and save that one pit stop for later in the day, thinking they couldn't do it on just 2 tanks of gas. But apparently, the front runners are going to gamble and try to run this race with only 1 fuel stop.
And of course, running these caution laps will help them. They don't burn nearly as much fuel at the slower speed.
1 lap to green. 25 laps will be complete. Getting set on a restart. 25 laps officially down. And let's take a look right now as they get set here for the start of this race, the start of this Winston Open. The starting grid for the Winston later today. We have Davey Allison and Harry Ginn in row 3. We have Tommy Ellis replacing Jeff Bodine, who was injured. Both Ellis, 10th position. Ricky Rudd and Terry Labonte in 4th, Greg Sachs 5th, Huck Strickland 6th, Jimmy Sauter is 7th, Chad Little is 8th, and Joe Rutland has been on the warpath. He started 19th and finds himself in 9th. Dick Trickle is 10th, and Dix is in 11th. The guy to watch, I think, is Bobby Hamilton. He started dead last, and Hamilton, the Tennessee driver, is now up in 14th position as they whale into turn number 1 again.
And he did that in a backup car, Ken, that didn't have any laps on this racetrack. You have to give a hat off to the crew for setting the car up and running so well here. Bobby Hamilton, a rookie this year in the Western Cup Series.
I saw him winning Grand National ranks over Richmond a year back. Boy, he looked good.
Now, Rick Mast, once he got around Terry Labonte back there, he was pretty far back, but seemed to be holding his own. We'll see if he is able to hang on to Michael Waltrip and Sterling Marlin.
And again, if you're just joining us, the point of this race, 3 cars from this event will transfer, qualify for the running of the Winston later today. That's where the big money is, $200,000 to win. Michael Waltrip trying his best to get himself into that race. Now, Bobby Hamilton in the 68 is falling back. He's gone back 1, 2, 5 car positions all of a sudden.
I think something has happened to his car. In fact, he's heading to pit road right now.
Hamilton coming in to making that valiant run from the rear all the way to 14th position. A thought from Chris Economaki.
Well, it doesn't seem to be talked about too much, but the front row in this race today qualified at the exact same time to the 1,000th of a second, which gives a little bit of an indication for how closely matched the cars are in today's Winston Cup.
We've got a bad crash in turn 4. have 3 cars getting snarled in turn number 4, 5 getting hit. Caution on the track, second time today. It started in the midst of turn number 3. It's collected 3 cars that are down, and 2 other cars took on some damage.
There's the car number 24 of Mickey Gibbs. That's the Team 3 car prepared by Barry Dotson and Associates.
And what a run they've tried. There's Smith out of Alabama.
Boy, he has hit that wall hard. Look how much it has pushed the right front of that car almost over to the center.
It's Mickey Gibbs. Dick Trickle's car is involved. Stan Smith's cars are all stopped on the speedway after this altercation in turn number 3 that came at lap 28.
Well, we see Stanley Smith now taking his helmet off. He's moving around in the car. That's always good news, because he did hit that outside wall very hard. Here is Mickey Gibbs getting out of his car, so apparently he is okay.
They lost the car that they intended to run in this race. They were going to withdraw. They brought this car in late. They started in the rear, and Mickey made a great run for the Barry Dotson team. All comes to naught here. He was 10th, coming from 28th. In replay, as we see Stan Smith climbing out of his machine.
Well, a lot of tight running. There's Jimmy Spencer down on the inside, and he's in the car number 98, and Mickey Gibbs get tangled up together, and here comes Dick Trickle and hits Gibbs in the rear. Trickle in the car number 34. There you can see Dale Jarrett getting down on the flat and going around those cars. And other cars getting down on the flat. And here comes Stanley Smith in the black car with the green numbers.
Almost made it.
Almost made it, but he clipped the car number 34 of Dick Trickle, and then that threw the car head on into the wall as it came off of turn 4.
Probably broke the steering and sent him right directly across the track. Watch it again from a higher angle.
Okay, here is Trickle now after he has already hit going up on the track. Then he starts down, and that's where Smith hits him, and you can see that he has no steering and slams hard into the wall on the outside.
He'd taken some speed off that, or he'd been in real trouble. That's a hard hit. Stan Smith, okay, you saw him walking away.
Yeah, you wonder, Joe Ruttman, it looked like there was fluid coming out of his car as he went in the turn. Maybe that's why they got together. And we understand that Ruttman is in the garage area now, so apparently he had an engine let go, and that's what caused Spencer to get into Mickey Gibbs, and then in turn, Dick Trickle was there with nowhere to go, and perhaps his car hit a little bit of the fluid and slid up into them.
Oh, but for another foot, Stan Smith. Chris Economaki is with a former winner of this event.
Right, Bill Elliott has taken some time out to come up and visit with us. Hi, Bill. We didn't mean to show you a crashing scene here. You sat down and the accident happened. And that brings up the point. You're out there racing and you see one of those kind of things unfold in front of you. What does it run through your mind?
Well, Chris, you know, you just got to be able to wait for the last second and decide what you're going to do. You know, always circumstances play a part in any accident, and it's hard to say, well, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. You just got to wait for the circumstances to unfold and then make your best judgment and go for it.
How much notice do you need before you can get by a guy? I mean, you guys are going on a great speed.
You just got to wait till the last second. At Talladega the other week, I was one of the fortunate ones. I got through that wreck that happened on the back side over there, and it was kind of a miracle from the way I looked at it. But it was one of them situations. I tried to keep the car going as straight as I could and wait till the last minute to do things. And you know, sometimes you don't have that luxury.
Okay, they're going to play the crash again, Bill. Let's see. You announced the crash. How do you see how this happened?
Well, I agree with some of them upstairs. It looks like there's fluid coming out of a car that just passed by, I think the 75 car, Joe Ruttman's, and the crash had happened behind it. You know, probably the 98 car got into fluid and ran the 24 car into the wall. And any little bit of fluid on a day like today, as quick as you run the corners, you know, it'll just take a cars right out of contention.
Wow.
I mean, you'll just go right up that racetrack. And the radials are a little different also. They got a different feel to them. And with a harder grip as you get on the racetrack today, you'll see something like that.
Okay, what about today? 57 degrees, track temperature 59 degrees. It's a football weather. What's it mean for you guys in the car?
Well, it's kind of a nightmare for us because, you know, we set our car up the last 2 days for it to be kind of a hotter day than definitely what it is today. And when you're going at 5 o'clock, you'd probably be cooler than it has been the past 2 days. But still, you know, there's a big question mark on what the race car is going to do this afternoon. And sure, the first 50 laps is going to give us an indication of what we're going to do the last 20.
Rusty Wallace is up here a little bit ago, and I asked him, I'm going to ask you the same question. Because it's the Winston, do you drive it harder than you do any other race?
Well, I've driven it pretty hard in the past, and, you know, I have won a race and almost another one. But, you know, the Winston's a top race. It puts a lot of hype on it and a lot of pressure on the drivers, and sometimes it puts you in situations you shouldn't be in.
Well, thanks for coming by, and good luck to you this afternoon, Bill. Now let's go back to you, Ken Squire.
The 1986 winner, Bill Elliott, who will start 7th in the Winston this afternoon. There you see the standings after 31 laps. We're under caution, getting set to turn them loose in just a moment.
Okay, we're open.
Dick Trickle did get out and walk to the ambulance, and they took him for the mandatory trip to the care center.
Thank you, Mike.
Also, guys, the 68 car, Bobby Hamilton, the pit stop was for a cut right front tire, and of course he lost a lap on the racetrack.
How much? Yep. Thank you. Next Saturday, CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball takes most of this country to Riverfront Stadium, where the Los Angeles Dodgers take on the world champion Reds. Others will see the Cleveland Indians meet the Milwaukee Brewers. That'll be followed by the third round action of the Southwestern Bell Colonial from the Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth, Texas. It all starts next Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS Sports. Field still under caution with 35 laps now complete. 9 cars have retired from this event from the 29-car field that started. Let's go to Neil Bonnet.
Ken, we're down here with Billy Engel, Mike Waltrip's car that's leading the race, and there's a lot of question up down pit road, Billy, about the changes made this morning because of the weather. Did you guys have to do anything different?
Yeah, Neil, because of the weather today, we were going to make some changes, but you know, because of the weather, we decided not to, because what we wanted to do is exactly what Mother Nature done for us.
So you needed the car to be a little bit tighter to help you?
We needed to be just a little bit tighter, and right now he says he feels like he is just a tick tight.
Yeah, and evidently, Billy, I'm looking over your shoulder at the stopwatches, and you're seeing better numbers than you've seen all week long.
Yeah, we hadn't run this good, you know, in practice. We qualified that good, but we hadn't run this good a lap, so everything's working pretty well right now.
Thank you, Bill. Ken, I guess Mother Nature tunes on these race cars. It helps sometimes, and sometimes it hurts.
Well, for sure, Michael Waltrip could use some luck. He's had some unfortunate times. This year seems to be going pretty well for him. He's well up in the Winston Cup standings. 36 laps are complete. Here's the standings. They're still continuing to work on turn number 4. And we will return with more live coverage of the Winston Open from Charlotte after this word from your local station. Yeah,
Bill.
yeah. If you get the opportunity, the 90 cars become a player that. Thank you. One lap to green. Still reporting. Lights off. Okay. 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 Thank you. Yep.
This CBS Sports Special, The Winston, is sponsored by Bud Dry. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry for refreshment that's beyond question. The Die-Hard battery, now with more power when you need it most. And by Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every single team that qualified for the Winston.
We're back with you, and they've just taken green, coming around in the 39th lap. And there you see on the bottom of the track, Bobby Hamilton's car trying to pull through. Looks like he's running second. He's actually a lap down now.
He has made an unscheduled pit stop for a right front tire that was cut, and he did go a lap down. He's trying to get back in the lead lap now.
Remember, he came from shotgun all the way up to 14th before he had that tire come down.
I see a lot of dust flies that come off of turn 4 where they put down the quick dry to absorb the fluids that were put down by the cars that were wrecked.
See Wally Dallenbach's car, number 90, that started 27th and now is in 10th position. Here's the 94 that had pitted and has a chance to move back up through here. Yeah. That's Terry Lamotti moving around.
Some fresh tires on that car, Ken, and those cars that did pit should be able to move up through the traffic pretty well because fresher tires will help them run a little faster.
And that drops Dallenbach back to the 11th position. Leader continues to be Michael Waltrip. Bobby Hamilton lapped down, running right behind him. Second spot is number 22, Sterling Marlin, with Rick Mast in third. We've had 17 laps under caution thus far, Ned. The record for this race, I believe, is 23. This Winston Open is just 4 years old. There's Richard Petty a little further back in the field. Another incident like what we just had, they'll have a mark up for the most caution laps in the event. Here's Chris Economac.
Well, we like Richard Petty right now. He started in 10th position. He's up to 8th and going for 7th. He made an early pit stop and obviously got his car tweaked a little bit to suit his taste, and he's on the move now. Remember, 3 positions get into Winston, and it may be Richard Petty's day to get in this Winston. Look at him go.
See him going down the back straightaway, and he's closing up on Jimmy Sauter. This would now be for 6th position. He got past Chad Little. Now he's closing on Sauter in the 6th slot. Just in front of him in 5th is Greg Sachs. Richard Petty's looked good over the last 3 days here at Charlotte, Ned.
Yes, he has. He has always run well on this racetrack. He's had some tough breaks along the way, but he just likes to run here. And I talked to him yesterday, and he said this might be his kind of race. He has run well in many races so far this year, but as he gets on up past the halfway mark, he's had a lot of trouble. But he said this is a 200-mile race. This just might be to my liking.
Number 47, the white car, is in 5th. Then comes Sauter in number 89 in 6th. In 7th is Petty, and in 8th is Dale Jarrett in number 21.
Dale made a pit stop when Richard Petty did, took on right side tires on the Wood Brothers car, so he is coming back up through the pack pretty well. Ken, we saw on our replay, or after our replay, that Stanley Smith and Mickey Gibbs both got out of their cars. So did Dick Trickle. All of those drivers were taken to the infield hospital just for a checkup, but we're happy to report that Trickle got out of his car and walked away from it too.
43 laps are now complete. 44 this time of the line.
Eddie now working on Jimmy Sauter.
And he's working on Greg Sachs. And there's Dale Jarrett in the 21, just behind him in the 8th position. Having a good run here thus far. Kid looks good.
He's running pretty good so far. Long way to go yet.
Carnavati just pitted and has come back out. That's why Wally Dullenbach is showing up in that hunt right now.
In fact, it looks like we have 16 cars on the lead lap out of the 29 that started this race.
Battle for third. Here's Hut Strickland in the Allison car, number 12, challenging Rick Maston, number 1, and has the position.
Yes, he has been fast right from the beginning, and look how low he can keep that Buick right down on the bottom of the racetrack. And I'll tell you, that works on this racetrack if you get a car that handles that well and can stay there. See, when he goes into turn 3, it just gets it down on the bottom of the track. Then in turn 4, all of them will drift up a little bit. Mast is drifting up more than Hut Strickland is. That's one of the reasons that he is able to move around.
They talk about this track as both ends being 24 degrees, but they're totally different, Ned.
Yes, they are. The configuration of the turns, the banking degree is the same, but they are quite different. Turns 1 and 2 are sharper, and you get into turn 3, it's a good turn to enter, but boy, when you start off at turn 4, it sort of turns in a hurry. Not quite as much as Darlington, South Carolina, but it turns, that wall comes up in a hurry there, and it gets very slick too.
Right here, where Jim Sauter, you see, in 5th, Richard Petty in 6th, Dale Jarrett in 7th, Greg Sachs has fallen back to 8th, and Terry Labonte is in 9th. The 89 car, that's Jimmy Sauter. Meanwhile, here's the story up in front. It is still Michael Waltrip dominating, set on the pole, and continues to lead. Bobby Hamilton, the yellow car behind him, is a lap down. The second place car is Sterling Marlin in the Junior Johnson Ford number 22, running in 2nd position, and maintaining 3rd now is car number 12, that's Hut Strickland.
And he is gaining on the car number 22 of Sterling Marlin.
Neil Bonnet is in Richard Petty's pit.
Yeah, Ken, we're down here with Robbie Loomis, and he said Richard's car is really running good. He's moving up through there good, Robbie.
Well, I tell you, we started the race, we were a little loose, and we come in that pit stop and worked on it a little bit, and now if we could get a long stint of green, we'd be in real good shape. Them boys have to pit under green.
If we get a long stint of green and keep running, they might carry their grandstand down. They'll be pulling for Richard.
Yeah, Richard said if we win this thing, he said they'll have to put off that Winston for a little while.
All right, here we go up the pits. Mike Joy.
Well, I'm in the Bobby Allison pit, or rather it's the Hut Strickland pit. Bobby Allison's car. Here's crew chief Jimmy Fennick looking at his driver, and right alongside is one of Winston Cup Racing's all-time winners. Bobby, it looks like Hut's really got the car working well right down on the bottom of the racetrack, where you'd like to run.
Well, the guys have worked really hard on that Ray Vestas Buick, and Hut is able to run the car down pretty low. We've still got a long ways to go.
But Hut Strickland is running him down. He also happens to be Bobby's son-in-law, so there's a little nepotism there.
Never hurts.
No, his wife Pam is the daughter of Donnie Allison, who of course drove for many years. And here is Hut Strickland trying to make a move on Sterling Marlin. Couldn't quite do it that time, but watch Sterling drift up the track a little bit. Hut is able to keep his car on the low side of the racetrack, gets the fender alongside.
51 laps complete this time by, and 83 to go, and Hut Strickland is trying to nail down 2nd spot, which would put Sterling Marlin on the bubble to get into the $875,000 Winston 7th annual. Strickland is there. Watch it live here on CBS, going up into 2nd spot. Now, usually we have in-car cameras. We have 4 in-car cameras out there. Unfortunately, the ceiling is so low here from the weather we've had all day, we can't get pictures, can't get the helicopter up far enough now.
And that's too bad, but we're seeing some great racing from our ground cameras here. Hut Strickland is impressive now. He's beginning to pick up a little bit on that yellow car. The first yellow car in front of him is the lap car of Bobby Hamilton.
Remember that Strickland has been in 2 Winston Opens and he's finished 5th both times, and he made such a great run this year at Daytona 500. Number 12, Strickland around number 22, Sterling Marlin, who now has to be a little worried about who's directly behind him. Let's go back to Chris Economou.
I'm sitting here with Kenny Wallace, the younger brother of former champion Rusty Wallace, who's had a great break in his career. He's in the springtime of his career, one of the young superstars. Tell us about how you got into the Winston.
Well, you know, just kind of a lucky thing. You know, they ran the race down in Talladega on Monday, and Kyle got in a bad crash, and Kyle called me up Tuesday morning and offered me the ride. So, you know, here I am. I guess I really don't belong in the Winston, but, you know, this is the way a lot of good drivers have got their break, and I'm happy to take it.
What? You've been in one Winston Cup race.
We've got a crash in turn 4. Jimmy Sauter. Jimmy Sauter is head on in the wall. Jim Sauter has tagged the wall solidly in turn number 4 while he was dicing with Richard Petty and running in 5th position. A hard blow on car number 89. Caution is out, 3rd time today. Sauter from about 10 feet down straight up into the wall, and you can see the damage done to that Evinrude car number 89.
We'll take a look and see what happened. There's Richard Petty coming behind Sauter, coming off of turn 4, and the back end just slips around on Sauter's car, and Petty might have touched him after he had already gotten out of control. Then he hits the outside wall hard. Dale Jarrett lost control of his car trying to maneuver around. He slid through the grass, didn't hit anything, so he was okay, but Jimmy Sauter's car is really bent up.
Lap 54. If you're notating at home, was the end of the race for car number 89, Jim Sauter.
And while this was going on, Ken, Bobby Hamilton raced past Michael Waltrip and got back in the lead lap. Now, do we see pit stops coming up with 55 laps complete? Now, if they were going to make it on one pit stop, they needed to go to about 67 laps, but this is awfully close to be gambling that way as to whether they would stay out there and hope for a caution in the next 12 laps or so.
Father of 11 children, unstrapping, about to clamber out of car number 89. Chris?
That was the point I was going to make. There's a lot of people back in Wisconsin wondering whether he's okay. He's the father of 11. The oldest one is 29, and the youngest one is 11. And he needs to race. He needs to get home in one piece. He's a nice guy, stays in great shape, and a good friend of Dave Marcus. Now, when they came up and looked at him and turned around and walked away, it looks like he's okay. But the car certainly is not.
Okay, everybody almost on pit road. The speculation goes out the window. There's the leader of the race, Michael Waltrip, getting 4 tires from his crew. Of course, a tank of fuel as well.
We're right in Waltrip.
Neil Bonnet is there.
Ned, we're right here in Waltrip's pit, and they're putting 4 tires on the thing. And evidently, it was just like Billy Engel had told us, he's leaving out right now. Mother Nature must be on their side. They certainly didn't put a round of light or anything in that car. He seems to be in real good shape.
But one thing about it, Neil, they will not be able to go the rest of the way now, so they will have to make at least one more pit stop for fuel. So the strategy that some of them might have employed in trying to go the distance on just one pit stop goes out the window now.
Cooler days, cooler tires, and usually that means more incidents.
Yes. And, you know, everybody running hard, trying to get up to the front, and it will cause those things to happen.
Point made by Ned a few moments ago about Bobby Hamilton will be one to weigh carefully here as we have 56 complete. Hamilton has made up his lap, and he's been as quick or quicker than anyone on the course. Michael Waltrip really backed up as he came on this incident, and it was Hamilton who rolled the dice and made up his lap. So the field remains under caution. The activity is continuing on pit road. Jimmy Means is in there. Eddie Bierswale is in there. We'll take another look at the standings now. Get set to go racing. They have removed the Jimmy Sauter car from turn 4 where it came to rest. Thus far, that's 10 retirees from this 29-car field with only 57 of the 134 laps to make that 11. Eddie Bierswale going back behind the wall. We'll be back with more of the Winston Open preceding the Winston 7th Annual here on CBS shortly.
Out, I think.
1 to go. Light is off on the pace car, Bob.
Yep.
Yeah, we really need that leaderboard to help us because it's all changed, Bob. We're back with you in the Winston Open. You're on CBS this afternoon. And as we look at it, Terry Labonte is in the first position. Maintaining the second spot is Kerry Teague. In the third spot is Michael Waltrip. Going in fourth is Sterling Marlin. And in fifth is Rick Mast. Those are the top 5, and here's the battle as they sort them out and get rolling.
Well, Terry Labonte was at the point on the restart, Ken, but he has dropped back to about 6th place. All of a sudden, something must have happened to his car, and Michael Waltrip appears to be slowing a little bit as he came off of turn 2. Kerry Teague has taken over the lead in car 03, but now here comes the car number 12 of Hut Strickland.
And car number 30, as you can see, the yellow car is really backing up. The leader is number 22. It is Sterling Marlin out in front by 15, 20 car lengths. And in second is Strickland. Rick Mast is in third. Those are the 3 who, if the race stopped now, would move on, qualify for the running of the Winston. In the fourth position is Terry Labonte. Kerry Teague to fifth as they sort him out in the back straightaway. You see the advantage that Sterling Marlin built up as he got a real good start.
There was a lot of scrambling going on. Apparently something on Terry Labonte's car. He got off to a slow start, and Marlin was able to slip through it and just zip right out front. Kerry Teague did take the lead for just a moment, but then Marlin got through and just took off.
Sterling Marlin makes a habit of really doing well in this race. Looks unbeatable for the moment, but that's what the story was with Michael Waltrip at the outset. And we know now that none of these cars are bulletproof, as it gets proven time and time again in this Winston competition.
Well, Michael Waltrip's car, we see him now, the car number 30, the yellow car, coming on the inside of Terry Labonte. It is back up to speed. Now, I don't know what happened there for a moment, that he slowed to the inside of the racetrack. Several cars went around him, but now he is back up to speed.
For almost 2 laps. He marched in reverse. Now he has to fight his way back toward the front. Sterling Marlin, who has twice won this event in the most dramatic race they've seen here, 1988. He started out back 11th, came up and won this, started from the rear 20th, and worked his way all the way to 2nd in the running of the Winston itself.
Still have over 100 miles to go in this 200-mile Winston Open. Richard Petty hanging in there in 4th place. You can see him. Looks like he might be gaining a little bit on the 3rd place car of Rick Mast. Hut Strickland on the left of your screen in car number 12. With Richard Petty coming right on up on those drivers.
Being shown in 10th. Here's Mike Joy.
Ken, after the caution flag pit stop, Hut Strickland's crew chief Jimmy Fennick was really looking closely at these tires that just came off of that Buick, checking tire wear. It was pretty negligible. Fennick may be planning to go the rest of this race with just a gas and go stop and no further tire change.
What do you think?
Well, that tire wear does look good there, and if the car is not slowing down, and normally on a cool day, after the tires heat up, they don't slow down as much as they would on a hotter day, so that might work for them, and certainly if they have to stop during green flag conditions, they can do it very quickly. And
let me make a correction too. On our computer scoring, they have Richard Petty in 10th. That's not where he is. He's right up in the midst of it here. He is running in 4th, right behind Rick Mast in 3rd. Petty is in 4th, and he is closing on Rick Mast for the third position at this moment.
10 laps ago, Bobby Hamilton was a lap down, and now he is running in 6th place. There's Junior Johnson looking on. Sterling Marlin leading this race.
There you see the interval from Marlin back to the battle, which is a three-way affair.
Now this is the 5th and 6th place cars we're seeing there. Bobby Hamilton, both yellow cars. And Michael Waltrip in car number 30. I said he was back up to speed. I'm not sure that he's up to the speed that he was early in this race.
Standings after 67 laps. Marlin, Strickland, Mast, with Petty just outside, and Bobby Hamilton.
And then in 6th place was Michael Waltrip.
Coming up on halfway. Half the distance here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Rookie driver Ted Musgrave going out of the pits after having made an unscheduled pit stop. And Sterling Marlin just circling the track. The car looks like it's really handling well. When we saw Cut Strickland pass him a little bit earlier, the car was sort of moving up in the turns, but they made adjustments on it. Seems to be working well for it. 10
cars have officially retired from the event. 10 out at 69 laps down. So we have some 96 miles to go to decide the Winston Open and the 3 cars that qualify for the Winston this afternoon, as Petty continues to hang right in here in 4th spot, trying to close up on Rick Mast.
Sterling Marlin jumped out to a pretty good lead there in that scramble after the green flag fell, but since then it doesn't seem to be moving away, Ken, as we watch Hut Strickland, who is in 2nd place in car number 12. Rick Mast in car number 1 is 3rd. Richard Petty not far behind him.
And Michael Waltrip moving around Bobby Hamilton in 5th and now pulling away from him, trying to chase down Richard Petty. Whatever the malady was in car number 30, it seems to have corrected itself, and Michael Waltrip is back with the program, closing in on the leaders in a race which he dominated in the first third of the distance. Now there's Sterling Marlin slipping through turns 1 and 2, and that Junior Johnson Ford looking very, very strong. The teammate car, Jeff Bodine, scheduled to drive earlier this week. Jeff Bodine broke 3 ribs, punctured a lung, and drove home to Greensboro,
North Carolina.
Put him in the Carolinas Medical Center over there. And Tommy Ellis is now named to drive that car in the main event today.
Well, it's a tough break for Jeff Bodine. It's a brand new automobile. He really had not gotten it up to full speed. And something happened to the car going into turn 1 and wiped it out, and certainly injured Jeff as well. And we want to wish him a speedy recovery. There was speculation that he might get out of the hospital yesterday. That did not happen. And then this morning I talked to a member of his crew, and they thought he might be released today. So Jeff is watching us here today. Certainly want to wish you the best and hope to see you over here at Charlotte Motor Speedway next week.
1 3/10 seconds, the difference between 1st and 2nd place. Marlin and Hut Strickland in 2nd. Neil Bonnet is standing by with one of the favorites at Charlotte anytime they set sail around this track. We'll try to get back to that report in a moment. Meanwhile, here's that car number 30. Definitely closing ground on Richard Petty as Michael Waltrip fell back on the restart. Looked like he was out of the picture. Now flanks himself right back center stage.
Yes, he is back now to running, it looks like, the speeds that he was running when he was leading the race. Probably took a little while to get the tires seated in. Maybe the set of tires that he put on was a little tighter, and took a little while for them to get seated in. And now he's back on the move.
It was a dramatic backup.
Yes, it was. Yes, he went from near the front back to about 7th place, and now has moved back to 5th.
75 of 134 laps complete. 59 laps to go on the 1.5 mile Charlotte Motor Speedway to see who the 3 are that will move into the 20-car field for the running of the Winston. Petty under challenge. Michael Waltrip No respect for the 7-time champion. Just wheels around him on the outside.
Yes, he did. That car is handling well, and it looks like it was, as the racers say, handling pretty well down the straightaway, too. He just moved up on the outside. A lot of horsepower under the hood of his car.
Sterling Marlin first, Strickland second, Bass third, and now Michael Waltrip into the 4th position and closing on Rick Mast. There's the leader by 1 3/10 seconds, working the 77th lap. Here's the dice. This is for 3rd position. Final qualifying spot for the $800,000 shootout later today. Down comes number 30, Bahari Racing. Michael Waltrip's Pontiac closing in on the Oldsmobile of Rick Mast.
Well, we talked about the low groove being the place. Doesn't matter to Michael Waltrip. He just moves up on the outside and moves right around with ease. Boy, that car, wherever he wants to drive it, is working well.
And so Michael Waltrip at this moment has himself back in the top 3 and into the Winston, but he's on the bubble. Up in front is Sterling Marlin and Hut Strickland, and for sure he wants to go search them out, try to put them back in that 3rd place where your worries get a little more extreme.
Well, of course, having a little bit of a cushion would help. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Bill Engel is Mike Waltrip's crew chief. Billy, what happened to him on the restart?
I really don't know, Mike. I didn't get to see it. He hasn't said a word.
Whatever had happened, it's got to be fixed because he's coming fast.
Yeah, we seem to have picked our speed back up. We're looks to be about 2/10 quicker than the rest of the cars.
Well, either it's no big problem, Ken, or maybe Mike made a miscue on the restart that he just wanted to keep to himself.
Sounds that way.
Yes, it does. And when he says 2/10, he's talking about 2/10 of a second that he is running faster than Sterling Marlin, according to their stopwatches.
Chris Economaki has another of the popular stars of Winston Cup Racing getting ready for the big go this afternoon.
Yes, and we have another illustrious visitor from the field of stock car racing, Kenny Schrader of Missouri. Thanks for coming by, Kenny. Before we get into your situation, watching Michael Waltrip, what are your views about this guy out here now?
I'll tell you what, Mike is wanting into Winston real bad. That car's been running good all year long, and he's working his way towards there, and if he gets in, he'll be a factor.
How about this racetrack situation? Will these drivers that come into the Winston from the open have an edge on you fellows who haven't been on the track today?
Well, they've already got to run their car, and they know what adjustments they need to make from yesterday afternoon. We're going cold in from yesterday afternoon, so they do have a little bit of an advantage. Of course, everything on our car is fresh, but I'd say they got just a little bit of advantage, but they go to the back also.
We've had quite a few accidents in this race. Why do you think that is, Kenny?
Well, you know, I mean, everybody just run hard. I didn't get to see the first deal, but I guess somebody dumped some oil down. And, you know, like any place, when all the cars are running that close together and something happens, you're going to collect up 3 or 4 of them.
You happy with your car?
My car's running real good. Kodiak car was real fast yesterday afternoon. We run second in this race the last 2 years. We're really looking forward to it.
Kenny, you had an open wheel background. I know Indianapolis is in progress. Do you pay attention to what's going on up there?
Oh, I'll tell you what, we sure pay attention. My wife and I really want to congratulate AJ and Gary B for the jobs they done last weekend. We're really pulling for you guys.
We'll be watching it in Winston today. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you, Chris.
Sterling Marlin's lead is diminishing. It's now less than a second between himself and Hut Strickland, running in second spot with 82 laps complete, 52 remaining in the Winston Open here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And the standings after 81 laps, it's Marlin, Strickland, Waltrip to advance into the Winston here on CBS. What's that? Okay, thank you. I have it. Card 4. Is that correct? We're coming back on 60 Minutes. Is that correct? Tonight on CBS? Thank you. Okay. Tonight's a special night on CBS. 60 Minutes. Ed's in the Sudan, Steve's in Berlin, Harry's in Casablanca, and you're in for a treat. 60 Minutes tribute to Harry Reasoner. That's tonight, followed by Murder, She Wrote, and the CBS Sunday movie, A Seduction in Travis County. Here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, seductive little race going on right now. The lead of Sterling Marlin has picked up to over a second once again, but there's a dice developing for second place that looks pretty good. Hut Strickland is being challenged by car number 30, Michael Waltrip, as they enter turn number 1. And those two together have been cutting that lead down again. It continues to work like an accordion between the first place car, the number 22 of Marlin, and the number 12 of Hut Strickland, and that seems to be controlled by where car number 31 runs out there, Ned Jarrett.
Yes, car number 30 of Michael Waltrip is taking a different groove than is the car number 12 of Hut Strickland. He's staying right down on the inside while Waltrip is moving up in that second groove. That's where his Pontiac seems to be working best. But look at Sterling Marlin. Now, he's the lead car. He stays right down on the flight line on the bottom of the racetrack.
But the interesting thing here is that the 12 and the 30 were locked up bumper to bumper, and they pull back up to this interval again. It keeps changing lap after lap. And for a moment, Strickland pulls away. The 12 car of Hut Strickland from Allison Racing and the Bahari number 30 being driven by Michael Waltrip. The yellow car continue to gain ground on that leader once again. Battle for the lead developing. Sterling Marlin is there. That lead is now less than 10, less than 5 car lengths between first and second.
They are definitely picking up on him. Larry Pearson in the pits. He was running in the 11th position. So an unscheduled stop for him. Gary Teague, also who was running in 13th position, is in the pits. He's going back out. We have the hood up on Larry Pearson's car as Strickland continues to close in.
91 laps complete this time by. Working lap number 91 out of turn 4. And Hut Strickland closes to within 2 car lengths as they go into turn number 1. Michael Waltrip looks them over. Stands back behind Michael Waltrip. It's about a second and 3/10 to the 4th place car, Rick Mans. 3 cars to qualify for the Winston. And here's the battle for the lead. 22 on the point. Hut Strickland in second. And then the number 30. Those are the 3 that would make it. Here comes Strickland down to the inside in 4. They pinch it tight out of that 4th turn, and here they come to the tri-oval. It's wheel to wheel. Strickland on the inside. His Buick running up against Marlin's Ford. The 22 car on the outside. Give it to Strickland in turn 1, but in turn 2, Sterling Marlin is right there. Retake the lead. Into lap traffic they move.
Marlin came off the turn a little bit faster and was able to regain the lead, but watch his car move up a little bit. They run up on the car of Eddie Beersball, who's gone back on the track after having gone in the garage area, but their dicing around has allowed Michael Waltrip to catch up to the front twosome. And I was about to say that Marlin's car now is washing up a little bit in the turns, and turns 1 and 2 not so bad. Strickland slipped a little bit there, and that cost him some space. Michael Waltrip trying to move around him, but in turns 3 and 4, the car number 22 is sliding up the track a little bit, and that's what allowed them to catch it.
Look at Marlin just draw away. He builds up that advantage again for a moment. Those are the 3 guys that would move on into the Winston this afternoon. 21 laps have been run under caution, hence the average speed is down to just 125 miles an hour, with 94 of the 134 laps complete. 40 to remain. Big interval now. Back to Rick Mast in car number 1. Maintaining 4th. Richard Petty is 5th. Bobby Hamilton 6th. Greg Sachs 7th. Chad Little is in 8th. Terry Labonte 9th. Marcus is in 10th. Dale Jarrett is in 11th. Larry Pearson, who's been some time on the pit and back out again, is being shown in 12th position. Gary Teague 13th, and Wally Dallenbach in the Donlevy car is in 14th. Here's Neil Bonnet with a story on pit road.
Again, we're here with Mike Beam, Sterling Marlin's crew chief, and he's falling back just a little bit, Mike.
Yeah, you know, Neil, the car's a little bit too tight right now. All week, you know, it's been 90 degrees, 85 degrees, and we talked about change this morning, but we just couldn't make ourselves do it because it's been good. And we kind of gambled a little bit, and I was hoping it'd come back around, but it just takes it a long time. Luckily, he got out there and could get away, and, you know, Hunt and Michael, they've run him down, and if we can just get in the top 3 and win the race, or just get in the top 3 and get in the win so we can change a couple of springs here, we'll be happy. But, Sterling, he's doing a hell of a job at Mike's House Ford. So, we're on our way back after him getting hurt. We're pretty happy.
Thank you, Mike. Ken, it seems like Mother Nature's helping the 30 car, and it's got these guys a little tight. Maybe they can get it sorted out in the break.
When he speaks about getting hurt, that was that terrible crash, second and third degree burn sustained by Sterling Marlin at Bristol, Tennessee earlier, and he's looking great right now. As to the work they can do, remember there's about a 20-minute break between the running of the Winston Open and the Winston. Well, that's going to be interesting for these guys.
Yes, it will be, and Mike Dean mentioned that they might change a couple of springs. They can do that on that break, but in the Winston, they have a 10-minute break with 20 laps to go. They cannot change springs or shock absorbers.
Or rear ends. Right. Try to change those gears in the back. They've got to stay with what they start with. Now, the challenge is on again. The number 12 car, Hut Strickland, right down there on the bottom of the racetrack, as Ned pointed out at the outset. That car really works well down low. Here he is in 1 and 2, right on the bottom.
Yeah, you see Marlin's car slipped up a little bit as it went in the turn, and that gave Strickland the opening that he needed. He should get him as they go into turn 3 and off. Now, Terry Labonte did not make a pit stop during that last caution. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Yeah, he was in earlier to get 4 tires. This time he'll take on 2, just the right size. They have to come in for fuel. This is a scheduled stop. Since they can change the 2 tires quicker than they can gas the car, they'll do that, and Labonte is away.
Terry Labonte, the 1988 winner of the Winston, trying to qualify, and he's in big trouble now. As you see, Michael Waltrip assumes the 2nd position. Sterling Marlin falls to 3rd. Those 3 running away from the field. But back there lurking in 4th and trying to close in a little, taking a few car lengths back now, is Rick Mast in number 1. Time running out, 99 laps complete of the 134, and Rick Mast is definitely closing on those front 4. So we could have a battle for 3rd to ring the curtain down on this Winston Open, to decide who the final 3 positions will be in the Winston this afternoon.
And all of these drivers have to make one more pit stop. They'll have to have a little bit of fuel. They can't go the rest of the way. Now, Terry Labonte's crew gambled that there might be another caution. They stayed out on the racetrack, and it has cost him. He is a lap down now, and he can go the rest of the way. And the others do have to stop. The chances are they will only take on just a dash of fuel.
Standings after 100 laps. Strickland, Waldrop, Marlin to move on. Rick Mast just outside, and Bobby Hamilton, who's made a lot of making up in this Winston Open to still be a contender to move on.
Gaining, no question.
1 and 5.
Yeah.
Just say we're back at Charlotte.
Check him again. Stays the same. Just keep knocking those off and see if they ever get any closer. Thank you. Taking 2 laps, he takes a 10th.
Well, it's a cold day in Charlotte here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 27 laps to go in the Winston Open, and I'm with Tommy Ellis, one of the lucky drivers named to drive in the Winston. What did you think when you got the call to replace Jeff Bodine?
Well, it was a great opportunity, Chris, and I tell you the truth, it's probably been the most exciting thing that ever happened to me in my career.
How are you going to handle yourself in the race?
Well, I tell you the truth, I think I can give us both guys a Ford a really good run. It ran real good yesterday afternoon in practice, so we're going to give it in there. We're going to get in there and do the best we can and just see what happens.
Okay, good luck to you, Tommy Ellis. And now back to you, Ken Squire.
Thanks, Chris. Tommy Ellis is going to be a factor. He always is in anything he gets into. He had a great finish here one year, got a 4th place finish here at Charlotte. Could be pretty exciting when we put old terrible Tommy from Virginia, former twice national Grand National champion, on this track in a Junior Johnson car. Look out, it's going to be fun. Here's Hut Strickland's number 12 out of Alabama, the Buick in first, and right behind him comes number 30, Michael Waltrip. At issue is car number 22, Sterling Marlin. Just behind him by what had been 1 6/10 seconds, down to 1 5. Now gone to 1 4 for more. There's a little bit of opportunity for Sterling Marlin to draw away, but the battle is for third. Marlin is there. Rick Nash just outside, about 1 5, 1 4 back, 4/10 back from that position that would move him on. Rick Nash in the Oldsmobile, number 1, trying to become a factor in this race. There are 108 laps now complete, 26 remaining.
They're coming up on Dale Jarrett to put a lap on him. Jarrett made a pit stop, a late pit stop on the last caution, and it was about 2/3 of a lap down when the green flag fell, and he's been running out there by himself. No help as far as drafting is concerned. And Ken, we haven't mentioned drafting on this racetrack, but it does come into play, especially on the straightaways here. Not certainly like Daytona and Talladega, but when you can pick up another car going down the straightaway, it can help you as Hut Strickland moves on the inside of Dale Jarrett.
He was running in 10th place, going a lap down here as they crossed the stripe. And right with him comes number 30, Michael Waltrip. Remember that these 3 cars will start on the tail end of the field, and one of the exciting things that we'll be watching in the Winston is the challenge these 3 competitors from this race will make on those established stars that are in the Winston. That's always a dramatic run. As we mentioned earlier, Sterling Marlin made just a fantastic show out of 1988. Again, take a look at the starting grid for the Winston, upcoming live this afternoon here on CBS. Allison and Gamp, row 1, Waltrip and Earnhardt, row 2. The winners from 1990 to now, owners and drivers settling down for this great scramble, 7th annual. And the final 3 spots being decided in the next few minutes. 111 of 134 laps now complete. The issue on these 3 cars when that pit stop will take place to safely get them home.
Dale Jarrett and Dave Marcus just made pit stops, what should be their last of the day.
Hut Strickland stays in front. Here you see the 22. That's the 3rd place car, the man on the bubble. But those front 3 are all in jeopardy on pit road. It's the slowing down and picking up speed along with the work your pit crew does that can make the difference. We're going to see how that sugars off in a matter of moments.
Hut Strickland, is he about to come in, or is that a decoy, or what is it? That's the pit sign for car number 12. Hut Strickland, they're out there ready. When I say a decoy, you know, they might be trying to fool the other pit crews, but everybody knows that every one of these front cars has got to make another pit stop. They simply can't get that kind of gas mileage. Neil Bonnet? Well, Michael Waltrip now is taking speed and moving around Dave Marcus. That should put him down too. Go ahead, Neil.
Let's try again to get Neil Bonnet from the pit area.
Yes, Ken, I was just talking to Billy Engel again, and these guys aren't faking. They can't go but at maximum of lap 117. They've got to come in and get some fuel, and right now they're getting real close.
And number 12 is coming in very slowly.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
Yeah, the car is running as Hut Strickland comes in. They do spill a bit of gas trying to get that can in. But just past Bobby Hamilton making a stop. It's 1 can, and it's not all of that. Hut Strickland hopes it'll be enough.
That's at lap 114. Bobby Hamilton has just pitted, and he's back out.
So they only have about 30 miles to go, 20 laps, so it wouldn't take a full tank of fuel. And when you said he's coming in slow, they have to. 56 miles an hour is all
You know,
they can come down pit road.
absolutely right, and it
And
just
looks
looked
very
like he
slow.
was
Yeah.
so off the pace. Here's the car, number 30.
And he's
now
about
your
to put
leader.
a lap on him. Hut Strickland did not come up to speed, fellas, nearly as quick as he should have. And surprising that he would have gone a lap down and just taking on a little amount of fuel.
Well, that may be that length of time getting back onto the track. It's dramatic watching them come in at that pace, and you think there's something amiss, and it's the same speed out.
Yep.
So you're a little, behind it. You may be up to turn 3, maybe into 4 before you're full.
Makes that pit
throttle
stop
again.
longer, no question about it. As Michael Walker moves around Dale Jarrett to put another lap on him. Now Hut Strickland seems to be up to speed. Richard Petty just made his last pit stop. He's back out in the running. And here is Rick Mast now. He should be the new third-place car. Indeed he is, but he too has a pit stop coming up.
117 of 134 complete. The 3 that would transfer at this moment. Waltrip, Marlin, and Mast. Just outside is Chad Little in 4th. Greg Sachs in 5th. Strickland is back to 6th position. How about it, Chris?
Well, I think what happened to Hut Strickland was that he ran out of fuel. The engine went dry, and when they got him going again, it takes a while to get that fuel to the engine. It was just bone dry when he got it. He came down pit road a lot slower than the regulations stipulate. So I just think he went a little bit too far, perhaps 1 lap.
It must be very, very hard, and that's why they had that tack check that we saw before the race to really hit that race. You're out here running at a good clip, 165 plus mile an hour, and then trying to come in here at 55 miles an hour in race condition is not that easy.
No, it isn't. It feels like you're absolutely creeping when you come down pit road at that speed. Michael Waltrip still out there zipping around the racetrack. There's Hut Strickland, 1 lap down.
Back in 6th. Michael Waltrip, Marlin, and Mast. This is really going to change the look of these races with this new regulation coming in, and we saw them run the entire field down pit road, so they had a sense of what the speed would be on their tachometer when they got down to serious racing here. Well, let's see what happens with Michael Waltrip. 120 laps complete of 134 this time by. Will Michael come in? His crew on pit road look like they're ready for him, and indeed. Leader is on pit road. Michael Waltrip pulling in. This will put Sterling Marlin in front. Here's Neil Bonnet.
Here they are. Michael's coming in. They've even got the ether ready. They're not sure about the car running. They're putting 1 can in. Billy Ingles going in the left rear car. He took a little bit of bite out of the car. Just a quick stop, a little bit of bite out, and he's gone.
And the 3rd place car of Rick Mast in as well, just getting a dash of fuel. He is already back out or trying to get going again. But he was running in the 5th place car of Greg Sachs coming into the pits. And Rick Mast having trouble getting going, but he finally gets it refired, but he's going to lose a lot of extra time.
Sterling Marlin, now the leader in number 22. Marlin out in front. 121 laps are complete.
Now, Michael Walker, pardon me, Ken, he lost about 2/3 of a lap on that pit stop to Sterling Marlin. I think Hut Strickland definitely had a problem going out of pits that last time, and that cost him some extra time.
This puts number 19.
And the leader now coming into the pits. Sterling Marlin headed down pit road for his final pit stop.
This will put number 19, Chad Little, up on the board in 1st. 121 of 134 down. Here's Mike Joe.
Mike Powell puts in 1 can of gas. He might have got in about 2 gallons, and that was it. Sterling Marlin is gone, 2.2 seconds.
Boy, he hardly got stopped in the pits. That was a great pit stop. Should work to his advantage once he gets his speed up. He got out of the pits good, and he'll have to run below that white line and blend in coming off of turn 2. That's the NASCAR rule that they have to stay down there. They can't get up on the banking until they get out of turn 2. So that makes them take a little bit longer to get that speed up, but he should be in great shape once he gets his speed up.
Here's Chad Little leading for the moment and staying out. Chad Little staying on the track, coming by with 123 laps complete. 19 in 1st, number 30, Michael Waltrip in 2nd, Hut Strickland in 4th.
And even as good as Sterling Marlin, no longer than he was in the pits, as good as it appeared to get in and out, Michael Waltrip is ahead of him on the racetrack, so Michael had a fantastic pit stop and got in and out good as well.
And there's one other change. Sterling Marlin would be in third. That pit stop of his, which was just super, puts him into third, and Strickland would be fourth on the board. 123 complete. Here's number 30, Michael Waltrip. Here's the number 22, that's Sterling Marlin. And remember that is the car now on the bubble in third spot. He's got to stay there. Here's Chad Little's number 19 staying out in front at the present time. Did he get out of sync with the field, Ned?
No, he couldn't have. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Chad Little is out on the racetrack, and that's where he is staying. He doesn't have the fastest car here, but he's going to try to gamble on fuel mileage and go the distance.
Long gamble.
Yeah, it really is. When you ask the question, did he get out of sync? See, we haven't had a caution in a long, long time, so he couldn't have gotten out of sync. Maybe he can get that kind of mileage. It's doubtful if he can, but who knows? I've been proven wrong before.
9 laps to go, not very often. Chad Little, Waltrip, and Marlin are the front three in the Winston Open as we get down to decide who it will be that moves on into the main event. Here's the number 19. It looks like he made a bad gamble.
Yeah, I believe he's out of gas already. And not surprising either. He ran a good bit longer than the other leaders. Yes, he's headed into the pits. Chad Little led for a while from Spokane, Washington. The fellow who has a law degree but wants to drive race cars instead of practice law. And we see Michael Waltrip now takes the lead.
He should have stuck to the book, huh? The Bears should have stuck to the book. Car number 30, Michael Waltrip in first, Marlin second, Strickland third. Here's Mike.
Little was out of gas, and they've shot a bunch of ether down into the air intake. They're still trying to get enough fuel up to the carburetor to get him running. Well, it was a great gamble, but he ran out of gas just as we told you about it.
And that was with about 8 laps to go.
So the picture is this. Michael Waltrip shows first, Sterling Marlin second, Hut Strickland third, and then just outside the top three, it's Rick Mast in fourth, Bobby Hamilton fifth, Greg Sachs sixth, and Richard Petty in 7th place. There you see the laps trickling down as
Michael Waltrip puts a lap on
Chad
Little, who was leading this race just a few minutes ago.
Michael Waltrip trying to build an advantage here. Has himself a second and a half and maybe more as he comes to the line over Sterling Marlin in second spot. And Marlin over Hut Strickland has better than 3 seconds as they cross the stripe.
It's a wide margin, and then at least that far back to Rick Mast, who is in the 4th position.
Another 3 seconds back to Rick Mast. Here's the 22 in the back straightaway, Sterling Marlin. It's Pontiac, Ford, Buick. If the race were to stop right now, that would move on, and they would start in 18th, 19th, and 20th positions. Those cars are going to be fun to watch when we get down to racing the Winston this afternoon here on CBS as they try to move through the field of superstars in American stock car racing.
And I think they'll be able to do it, and I think they'll be able to pass many of the cars. Now, it's going to be tough to pass 17 cars.
By Earnhardt and Waltrip and Tommy Ellis.
I said many. I didn't name them. But I think having run these 200 miles, I think will help them some.
130 laps complete this time by. These cars will have to be inspected. They'll go through a very quick inspection, and they will get a chance to do some work, but not that much. Showing 4 to go. 4 laps remain. This will be the biggest win in Michael Waltrip's career. If he pulls this one off. Bahari Racing, they've come so close. And we mentioned earlier they've had some great experience in the Grand National ranks, their Winston Cup program. They just haven't had that win. You can't really qualify this as a Winston Cup win when the big dogs are still over there getting ready to eat, but this will certainly help that team and get their morale up. They've been looking for something like this to happen, and they came out guns loaded today.
And I'll tell you, getting that morale up is a key factor, Ken, going into the 600 here at Charlotte next week. I think they'll give them a lot of momentum.
Ned, few people really understand that business about morale and momentum. They say, hey, it's a race car, it's got an engine, they do all the fixing up, the driver gets in and goes. What does a team morale have to do with it?
Well, it has a great deal. Like in any sport, with any athlete, when when the adrenaline is flowing, things are going well, everybody just seems to work harder. Even these guys say they work as hard as they possibly can, but yet when you get the momentum going, it just helps. There's no doubt about it. You get that confidence in it.
So here's Michael Waltrip looking at a 2-lap indicator on the field to win the Winston Open here at Charlotte and progress into the major race, the Winston. $200,000 to win.
Smoker over in turns 3 and 4. I don't think it's affecting anything at the moment. It's the car number 90, Wally Dallenbach. He has hit something. Dale Jarrett just came in with a flat tire. He made a change and went back out.
Nose bent up, white flag. Nose bent up on car number 90. Here's number 30, Michael Waltrip, Sterling Marlin second, Hut Strickland in third as they get down to decide it. Davey Allison getting set to run off the pole. In the Winston this afternoon, Michael Waltrip will be looking from 17th position if he hangs together through this final 4th and very difficult turn. Like the hoop-de-doos at a motocross course. All of this simply to make the field, and Michael Waltrip's done it. Michael Waltrip comes home. Second spot goes to Sterling Marlin. Sterling Marlin across the line, and here's the number 12 of Hut Strickland. So the top 3 from the Winston Open move on for the Winston this afternoon, and that's going to be a spectacular event with Davey Allison and Harry Gant in the front row. Darrell Waltrip right up there in the front, and his little brother, who towers over him by almost 8 inches back there in car number 30, coming from the back of the field, and Sterling Marlin, who does so well on this track, and with his Junior Johnson car, he's ready. And there's that Allison car, number 12. What a fine moment for Bobby Allison and his family as Hut Strickland brings them a 3rd spot from this 29-car field. There's 1 through 5, and Michael Waltrip has won it. Sterling Marlin is second, Hut Strickland in third. They're the 3 that will move on. And we'll return with more live coverage of the Winston after this message and a word from your local station.
Go ahead, Bob. I have Mike Waltrip.
Can I take this turn? You okay with this?
Billy. They want the bar.
Along with Dale. Dale's walking along with his car. They're pushing on the line.
Thank you.
Well, we walk along here with Dale Earnhardt is getting ready for this thing. Last year. Okay, excuse me. Okay, that's a good deal.
Understand.
We're going to work on it. So they ought to better watch out in Winston. I think they're going to be tough.
Right here. Right here. Mike Waltrip has won the Winston Open and scarcely has time to enjoy it.
Figures, Mike. I tell you, this is tough. We got to hustle and get this thing ready. It was terrible handling at the end, and you know, it's just how good this car is. Even though it wasn't right, it was fast enough to win. I think when we make a couple of changes to this thing, we could be real fun. It could be make the Winston real fun. What a super weekend for the race fan and for the racers. I mean, the money's here. Thanks to the good people at Winston, we can just go out and race and have a big time and not worry about points. And I tell you, I've had a lot of fun in this little Pennville Pontiac today. I want to thank them. And
now, big question. You coasted in. Bill Engel, crew chief, comes running to the car, and you had a heated discussion about what to change. What are you going to do?
He couldn't hear me on the radio. I wanted to change a spring and a sway bar and 2 or 3 things, and we're here right now and can't work on the car. So
we'll get you out of here so you can.
I need to work on my car, Mike.
Okay, let's go to Neil Bonnet.
All right, we're down here with Dale Earnhardt. First of all, Dale, you're going to have to take time to talk to me, or tomorrow I'm going to sink your boat when we go fishing.
No, don't do that.
But you got a little bit of work to do ahead of you right now before we get going on a little fishing trip. How's the thing running now?
Well, we put an engine back in that we had practiced with that run so well. We had a problem with it and couldn't qualify with it, but we got it fixed and got it back in here. So I feel a lot better about that, Neil. And the car was working pretty good. It just is a little bit under horsepower. So we got our good engine back in, and I feel like with the cool temperatures, the car was on the neutral side. I think we'll be in good shape.
I'll tell you what, if he's got a good engine in this thing, he's bad to mash that pedal. It'll probably run.
I'll catch some bigger from tomorrow, too.
Bigger fish, I'm not sure about that.
Again, let's take a look at the final results here on the Open. And it's Michael Waltrip in first, Sterling Marlin in second, Hut Strickland in third, the positions that counted. And they start 18th, 19th, and 20th as we get down and ready to go fishing for the big one. Huh? No, he's next door. He's next door. You got a... He's coming. Camera, what do you want to do? That's what what are we going to do?
We want him, I guess. You want Humpy now, Bob? He's outside the door. He's coming in.
They said they got to work on the cars here and give them 12.
Right.
I can't take care of both of them.
Turn it down a little bit.
Turn, you want it down?
You have to do that in the truck, I think.
Yeah, we're really hot.
Give me a wider shot, that handheld
Can you turn
guy.
us down up here? We're really hot.
Wider, the action. The guys were working on both cars. They're right side by side. There's a lot of activity there. This is too tight.
We may walk
Right.
there from here.
Got There we go. And to show some activity. There's the spoiler getting checked. Right.
Here's what you want to do.
Like 17 cars are lined up on pit road, but the 3 cars that just graduated into the Winston from the Winston Open are back here by the garage, and the mechanics are working on them left and right. They've forgotten about the Winston Open already. Their concerns are the Winston. There's the winning car. See the mechanics underneath it, changing springs, getting the car just right for Michael Waltrip. Hut Strickland's number 12 is only a few feet away, and the mechanics are under the hood on that car, changing the right front suspension set and so forth. It's high-tech time in American stock car racing, as you can see what goes on here. Under the car, over the car, around it, and in it, to tailor the car for the track and the weather today. As we said before, there's been a dramatic change in the weather that requires a lot of changes in the car and the engine and the settings. They're trying to make this car right. Now, these 3 drivers may have an advantage for having been out there for over an hour. They know exactly what the conditions are, and as our guest had said earlier today, the 17 on the line are going out cold. and that's no play on words. So Hut Strickland, Michael Waltrip, and Sterling Marlin may have an advantage, though they're starting way in the back of the field, and you can see the crews there working dramatically against time to get those cars ready to push out on the track for the Winston. Back to you, Ken.
Chris, you were talking about the weather. I can't think of a more adverse weather report than we've had for the last couple of days, and yet the John Ringling of Motorsports, H.A. Humpy Wheeler, has the largest crowd you've ever had for this event here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
You sure know how to get the folks out.
Yeah, we're lucky today. We did a real rain dance, raining all around us, but we're going to get it in. It's going to be a great race, and I think the change in the weather here is going to produce maybe the best Winston we've ever had.
Well, it certainly was a dandy Winston Open, and that run by Michael Waltrip is one they're going to be talking about for some time. Apparently, he flawed his own performance there briefly, blotted his pad for a moment in the midst of the race, then made that great comeback to win it out here. Have you got a prediction on who we can see take this one home when it's over?
Well, I picked, the track was hot. I had picked Earnhardt 3 days ago. I picked 2 straight. I said if the track was cool, I was picking Davey Allison at 2-1, so we'll see.
Okay. How'd you do on the Preakness?
Not very well. Finished last.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
And let's listen in to Jimmy Fennig and his driver, Hut Strickland.
Put the hammer over in the right hand. And if after the 40 laps that ain't it, then we'll put some bite in it.
Okay. They like the car pretty much the way it is. They are not changing springs, and Ned is a 2-time champion. You could probably decipher the rest of that for all of us.
Well, they were talking about changing the angle of the spoiler, and I guess that certainly makes a difference in the car, how it handles. Neil Bite, what's going on in your area?
Here we are down here with Harry Gann on the outside pole. Harry, you watched a lot of racing all day. I bet you're chomping at the bit ready to go yourself.
Yeah, we're just kind of waiting for this unexpected here to see how the car's going to react. You know, we were real good just evening, but the track has changed. It's got cooler, and we've been trying to find out all we can here in a few minutes. It seems like it's got a lot tighter, and we hope it'll be okay, but you never know.
Did y'all make any changes, Harry, from after you see what happened earlier today?
No, we already had our car up on the line and all, and we're thinking we wish that we could have, but I guess we'll have to do what we can do at the other stop if the car does push real bad.
All right, Harry's going to ride with it like it is. We're back up to you, Ken.
Segment 1 of the All-Star race coming up, 50 laps, and then the 20-lap shootout. It's all here live this afternoon on CBS.
Bob Stenner. Bob?
Yes, talk to him.
Hey, Bob, let me know if this shot is any good here with these carburetor jets. If we can do this.
Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. Mm-hmm. Great. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay.
We're back with you live at Charlotte, North Carolina, getting ready for the All-Star event, and here's the format. Segment 1, 50 laps, 75 miles. 10-minute break in the action, line them back up and send them out for the final 20 laps, 30 miles, with $200,000 going to the winner. Here's how they qualified a day ago. A little unique, 3 laps, but in the midst of those 3 laps, a pit stop, and it was the overall time, including how well your team did on pit road, that made the difference. Some 35,000 people were here to watch this yesterday. Davey Allison's actions on the track and in the pits were what gave him the pole position for today's race. 12.68, and interesting to note, Ned, that 2 teams were faster than Allison in the pits. Harry Gant for one, Darrell Waltrip for another.
And his speed on the racetrack, getting in and out of the pits, is very important as well, so that got him a lot of money.
All right, here is the starting grid. Making his 5th straight appearance in this All-Star event is Davey Allison on the pole. Harry Gant is alongside, winner at Talladega just 2 weeks ago. Row number 2, Darrell Waltrip, winner of this race in 85 in the final 2 laps, and the loser big time in 89 in the last 2 laps. Beside him is Dale Earnhardt, the only 2-time winner, 87 and last year. Row 3 is Tommy Ellis, the veteran from Richmond, filling in for the injured Jeff Bodine, and Ken Schrader, who's finished 2nd in his 2 outings the last 2 years. Row 4, Bill Elliott, who won this race in 86 when it was run in Atlanta, and Morgan Shepherd, who's driven for 4 different teams in 4 previous Winston appearances. Row 5 is Derek Cope, last year's Daytona 500 champion, looking to get this season back on track. Rusty Wallace, the 89 winner of this event, starts in 10th. Going into the 11th position is Ricky Rudd, making his 7th start in the All-Star contest, but has yet to lead a lap. Alan Kowicki is alongside. He earned his 3rd start in this event with a victory last fall at Rockingham. Row 7 is Mark Martin, who finished a strong 3rd a year ago. Then Bobby Hillen, the 86 Talladega 5 winner. In row 8, it's Brett Bodine, the 1990 North Wilkesboro 400 winner in his 2nd Classic. And Ernie Irvan, winner of the 500 at Daytona at the outset of the season, but a rookie here in this Classic. Row number 9 is Kenny Wallace, taking the wheel of the Felix Avedis Pontiac, while Kyle Petty recovers from a broken leg. And following that, Michael Waltrip, who we just saw victorious in the Open, and rounding out the field, Sterling Marlin, the great Tennessee campaigner, and Alabama's Hut Strickland. 20 great champions getting ready in a matter of moments to go racing in the Winston. Cars have just fired up on pit road, and the 3 that transferred into the main event are joining them on the tail of the field now. The man who is in 4th place in that Winston Open is standing by with Chris Economaki.
Well, one of the men who is not out there in the lineup who would like to be, Rick Mast. Thank you for coming by, Rick. What kind of a disappointment is it?
Well, it's very disappointing, Chris. You know, we had high hopes getting into Winston. You know, we got a brand new car. We unloaded. We probably helped the car 1,000% since we've been here. You know, the track got cold today. My car pushed all day. We took some wedge out and helped it some, but not good enough to the end. You know, it's only the 2nd new car we've had this year, and we had a few bugs, but, you know, we've learned a lot from the 600 next week. Hopefully the Skull Classic holds the win next week.
Yeah, but your career is on the ascendancy, Rick. The Busch Clash, and then that great race at Talladega. You got so much publicity. Better luck next time, and thanks for coming by.
Thank you. Good luck, Harry.
Well, another fellow who is not in this race, but for a different reason, is Kyle Petty. Broke his leg up at Talladega. First off, how are you doing? What's the prognosis? And how much does it hurt to be here and not be out there in one of those cars?
Well, I'm doing real well. I don't know, man. I'm doing pretty good. I don't know how long it's going to be. About 3 months before I can put any weight on it. But it doesn't hurt as bad now, you know, because it's one of those deals, not to be out there, because it's one of those deals I know I'm not ready to get back out there, you know. When in about 2 months, when this thing gets good and bending and works pretty good, and the doctors still say no and I'm ready to go, then it's going to hurt.
Okay. Kyle hopes to be back in the race car perhaps September, October of this season.
Getting a lot of television time, he said. Has 2 favorite soap operas, and he is absolutely the expert on it now. But he's far ready to be racing. front of the field getting ready to go. You can see them warming the cars up down there with Davey Allison and Harry Gant in that front row, as the 7th annual Classic is just moments away from a start.
Ken, you mentioned Bobby Hillen in the field that he won back in 86 or 87 at Talladega. Now, he got in as a result of a car owner qualifying for this, and it was Raymond Beadle's car number 27 with Rusty Wallace at the wheel that allowed that. So they worked out a deal with Dick Moroso, who Bobby Hillen drives for now, so that allowed him to get into the field. Of course, Kenny Wallace, as we mentioned earlier, and Tommy Ellis, neither of them have won a Winston Cup race, but certainly those two cars have qualified.
Owners of drivers.
Yes, and so that's what it all amounts to.
Let's go to Chris with a master.
Well, we've got with us King Richard Petty. Thanks for coming by, Richard. I see you're smiling, but I bet you'd be smiling more if you're out there, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, naturally we would, but we've been out to ride smart today. Hopefully it'll help in the 600. It didn't help today, but, you know, it was right exciting there. They had a couple of mishaps, and I happened to be lucky enough to get through a couple of them, so it was exciting from my standpoint.
How tough is it, Richard, to be on the outside looking in?
Well, you know, I don't worry about this. I do my thing, and they do their thing, and we just let it truck along. So, you know, if I was worried about this stuff, I'd be doing something else.
Next year, the all winners are going to be champions are going to be invited in, so you'll be in next year. You happy about that?
Yeah, I told them about the time I get ready to retire, then they turn around, you know, make it eligible for me to run. But you know, it don't make a whole lot of difference. If we get to run, that's fine. If we don't, we get to run in this one.
What about you're going to be rooting for Kenny? Oh, now let's see. Here we go. Here, let's tell us how you see that, Richard.
Well, I'm right behind the '89 car, and he hits those ripples up there right in the middle of 3 and 4. And the car breaks loose, and my car is just lucky enough that it handles where I can just keep it straight. And, you know, if he'd have come down in front of it, there wasn't nothing I could do, but the way it was, we was really lucky on that one.
Well, I find you did a great job there, Richard. Those kind of things get your heart in your mouth?
No, not really. You know, you say, hey, man, you know, we got by with that. It's not going to be a bad day. If I get by with something like that, then I'm going to have a good day overall.
Yeah, now what about car 42, Kyle's car? You rooting for that in this one?
Well, I'd like to see it you know, do better than what they did qualifying anyway.
Okay, thanks again for coming by, Richard Petty. Good luck to you. Back to you, Ken Squire.
He talks about their qualifying. They did not have a good time at all. They blew up the transmission, smashed the gears out of it, and ended up 17th with no time. They're just in front of the starters from the qualifying race.
And, of course, that's going to make it a little tough for him coming up through the field, not having a great deal of experience with these drivers. However, Kenny Wallace is right up there in the thick of the battle for the championship in the Grand National Series. He won his first Grand National race earlier this year, so he has raced with a number of these drivers, even on this racetrack in the past. That will help some.
7 Fords, 6 Chevrolets, 2 Oldsmobiles, 3 Pontiacs, and 2 Buicks about to do battle. In previous races, Chevrolet has dominated. 4 Chevy victories, 1 Pontiac victory, and 1 Ford victory. Davey Allison, number 28. We asked Davey if the format of this Classic fit his style.
I like to run up front as much as possible and run as hard as I can. So this race really seems to fit me as far as style, I think, pretty good, because I can go out there and I can run hard for 105 miles and not have to worry about whether I'm punishing the car or punishing myself.
Down to it. There'll be some punishment on a lot of equipment before this one is over if it holds true to form.
And no, the pit stops don't come into effect. This first segment is 50 laps. No problem as far as going on fuel is concerned. Then they'll have that 10-minute break. They'll be able to fill them up with fuel, make some adjustments on the cars. Not as many adjustments as we saw on the car number 30. We don't know what all they did on the car number 22, but they did change some springs on some of those cars. They won't be able to do that in the 10-minute break that they'll have coming up after 50 laps.
Trying to squirrel some additional heat into those tires as they get ready to go racing here. Mike Joy.
Ken, in response to what Ned said, they did change the right side springs on the Sterling Marlin car, and they also made an adjustment to the timing of the engine, but otherwise just routine maintenance and sent them back out. They did not change springs on the Hut Strickland car.
And now that they're committed to this race, in the break between 50 and the second segment of 20 laps, they can't make any of those changes. Pace car is bringing the field back down pit road. They were told at the drivers' meeting to really take care of that tack, know and understand
how fast 56 miles an hour is coming down pit road, so they give them that opportunity to check it out.
The man with the pad passing out the speeding tickets sits up here right across from us in NASCAR control. Chris Economaki.
All right, we're with the 1988 winner here, Terry Labonte. Terry, what kind of track conditions are these guys facing now?
The track's in good shape right now. It's a little bit tighter than it was yesterday, so if the guy's car was a little too tight yesterday, he's going to be pushing today.
What about those 3 guys that were just in the open? Are they in a better shape for this track than the 17 who are going out cold?
I really think so. You know, they had a chance to go in there, work on their car a little bit, make some adjustments. I think they'll be in good shape.
And what about Terry Labonte on the outside looking in?
I wish I was out there, but we'll have to keep trying at it. It's a great race. It ought to be a good show.
Thanks for coming by. Better luck next time.
Okay, thanks.
Of course, next year, Terry Labonte will be in with the new rules that were announced here this week. Past champions of the Winston Cup Series will have a lifetime, as long as they run at least 50 or attempt to qualify for at least 15 races.
And past Winston Cup champions as well. I think that's terrific. Yep. Here's Neil Bonner.
Can't even though this thing has got 2 segments. I was talking to the drivers as they got in the cars. People might think they just ride this first segment out and get a position for the end. That's not the case. These guys are going to try to get to the front to avoid some of the things that happened in the other race. If you're out front, you've got a lot better chance of staying out of trouble. So there's not going to be any stroking in this first race. They're going to run it wide open.
And remember, as you see them running wide open, that from the rear of the field, Michael Waltrip, starting 18th, has got some experience out here, and he knows what this track is all about on this cool day. He knows about how those ripple strips up in turn number 4, right in the center of the turn, will affect his car number 30. He's coming from 18th position, and his best finish to date was 2nd in Pocono, Pennsylvania in 1988. Wouldn't he like to pull the upset of the day? Here's Mike Joy.
Ken, these teams have had to do quite a bit of guessing here this afternoon. Not only is it much colder than yesterday's 90-degree temperatures, but they expected to run that 100-lap Sportsman race earlier. The cars that ran in the Winston Open all complained of being too tight, and that's why 3 of those cars that came in made changes, so the rest of the 17 are kind of guessing about the track surface.
We are down to it. Ready for a start. Allison and Gant, row number 1. Former champions of this event, Waltrip and Earnhardt in row 2. And it's Ellis and Schrader, Elliott and Shepard, Cope and Wallace, Rudd and Kowicki coming down to take green. Champions all coming to the line. And the 1991 Winston is under green. On the break. Davey Allison Ford out in front to the outside. Harry Gant rim rides his way, stays right there.
But look at Dale Earnhardt coming in there in the car number 3, trying to move on the inside of Harry Gant.
One car slowing down dramatically on the outside, falling way back.
Here's Morgan Shepard in car number 15.
And it looks like Tommy Ellis has come off the pace at the start of this event. Tommy Ellis in the Junior Johnson number 11 dropped about 10 spots. Back to the line. Allison streaks away. Earnhardt goes into 2nd. Waltrip looks on the outside. It's now 15-20 car lengths by which Davey Allison leaves the field, trying to pull an Earnhardt from a year ago. Here comes Harry Gant on the inside, challenging for 2nd position.
Boy, it's hard to believe that a driver could have gotten that much of a lead in just a couple of laps, or less than 2 laps. Everyone knew that that car would be fast. Here's Kenny Wallace, car number 42, trying to move up through the field.
And look down on the bottom side as Hut Strickland tries to move out. Looking back, here's Michael Waltrip moving in on Brett Bodine in the green car. Here's Chris Economaki.
Well, you know, it's interesting. There's a lot of factory people here. Right now, the Ford people are smiling. In 2nd place, the Chevrolet people are smiling. The Oldsmobile is 3rd, so we've got a lot of interest here from Detroit.
1 2/10 seconds is the interval, as that interest in Detroit is all right now up in front with a Ford, Chevy, and Oldsmobile 1, 2, and 3. 172, 7/10 miles per hour in the last lap. Shepard has fallen back on the tail end of the field. Car number 15, Morgan Shepard, backing up in the Bud Moore car. And that lead gets bigger for Davey Allison as he extends it in lap number 4. It's 1 6/10 seconds, Ned.
And Mark Martin just got tapped down between turns 1 and 2, and he went all the way to the rear back there with Morgan Shepard. He held on to the car, but he was in a thick pack of traffic and got tapped.
Chris?
Well, you know, Davey Allison won the pole. We did some analysis, and he won it because of his brake. Now he's leading this race because of the speed. They've got a great combination there. Robert Yates and the crew on that number 28 Ford Thunderbird. He won the pole because he was able to get into the pits quicker and slow down faster than anyone else. He didn't go faster, nor did his pit crew work faster.
And the brakes, they put on short track brakes or road course brakes on the car so that he could get into turn 3 very fast before he was going to make his pit stop and still get slowed down to come onto a flatter pit road, and that worked for him.
Earnhardt back into second. Gant is into third. Schrader. Now here's Schrader to the inside. Schrader working on Harry Gant. Ken Schrader on the bottom of the racetrack. He's been in this event the last 2 years and finished second both times.
Yeah, he has a good record here, no doubt about it. We told Chrissy Conemacker that his car was running well, and certainly he's a good philosopher because it is running well.
There you see that interval, and it's diminishing now.
Boy, look at Schrader come on the inside of Dale Earnhardt. He just dipped down coming off of turn 4, took the inside groove. Earnhardt trying to hold tight. They touch level going into turn 1. Earnhardt slips up a little bit, and Schrader takes the position.
Schrader helped him move up a little, didn't he?
Well, yeah.
Davey Allison first, Schrader now at second. Look at this. Car number 30 is on a roll. He is flying out of the back of the field. He's now up to 11th position. Michael Waltrip, who started in 18th. And maybe helping out there.
Yeah, I think no question about it. Alan Kowicki having a problem. He's coming into the pits. And you don't need to make a pit stop during this short race. Michael Waltrip continues to come up there. He has caught Rusty Wallace. Moves on the inside of him while Davey Allison streaks away. Michael Waltrip is really on the move back there. There's the car of Alan Kowicki into the pits and apparently out of the race.
Here's car 28 with the advantage, and it stays at better than a second and a half. And here's Rusty Wallace getting pinned on the outside as Michael Waltrip draws a bead on still another position. Closing in on Rusty Wallace for 9th position is Michael Waltrip, and he's there on the bottom of the racetrack and looking for Bill Elliott now.
Bill Elliott is on the move. Yes, he is. He now has moved up to the 4th position. He's ahead of these cars that we're looking at. There's Bobby Hillen in that car number 27.
Don't forget that Ernie Urban in the number 4 started 16, and he's coming up through.
There's Bill Elliott. He just went around Dale Earnhardt, moving Earnhardt back to the 6th position. Elliott is now in 5th position. Darrell Waltrip is running 4th. Harry Gant is 3rd. Kenny Schrader 2nd.
Number 10, Cope, goes down behind Michael Waltrip. Falls back another spot. Here's Mike Joy.
I'm walking along with Alan Kulwicki. Alan, what happened to it?
Well, I don't know, Mike. I think something happened to the engine.
A good bit of smoke as he came by here and rolled into the garage. Tough break.
That interval between first and second shortens up. Davey Allison stays in first. Second spot to the line is Schrader, followed by Gant, then Darrell Waltrip, Bill Elliott. And Michael Waltrip looks to be as hot as anything on the racetrack. He is flying. Bill Elliott scoots away. He finds himself a 5th spot, and it is Dale Earnhardt in 6th, Ricky Rudd in 7th, Michael now in 8th, Ernie Urban in 9th, and Derek Cope in 10th. Hut Strickland out of the back has moved into 11th position, car number 12. With 10 laps complete, front of the field, looks like this. First spot belongs to Davey Allison. Second is Schrader. Third is Harry Gant. Darrell Waltrip is 4th. Bill Elliott 5th.
is picking up Allison by a tenth of a second a lap. It's a bit of a timing with Gibson's fight here.
And 30 and 7.5.
Started to drop now.
We're back with you at Charlotte. Next Saturday, CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball takes most of this country to Riverfront Stadium. LA Dodgers take on the world champion Reds. Others will see the Cleveland Indians meeting the Milwaukee Brewers, followed by third-round action of the Southwestern Bell Colonial from the Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth, Texas. It all starts next Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS Sports. Davey Allison had his lead diminished. Now he's pulled back out in front by about 1 4/10 seconds. Battle is a little further back. Ken Schrader staying in second spot, and then Darrell Waltrip is in third, but under heavy pressure from Bill Elliott in number 9. Harry Gant is running in the 5th position. Maintaining the 6th spot is Earnhardt, and ready to challenge him is Michael Waltrip in car number 30. Just moved around Ricky Rudd, and there you see him. There you see the 3 car. That's Earnhardt, and with him comes Michael Waltrip, who is having the race of his career.
He really is. I think he has the fastest car on the racetrack. He has come through traffic and hasn't lost much ground to Davey Allison. Earnhardt, meanwhile, has been backing up a little bit. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Well, Mike Waltrip started this race in 18th position and now moves up to challenge Earnhardt. Bill Engel, what was the most important thing you and Mike learned in the Winston Open?
Well, we learned that our car was pretty tight for today's conditions.
And what'd you change?
We changed the left rear spring. We loosened the car up some.
And how's he like it?
So far, so good. We took 2 rounds of wedge out of it on when we made that little last fuel stop there. That wasn't enough to loosen it up, so we changed the left rear spring during that little break.
Okay, Mike Waltrip working his way to the front.
And 5 4/10 seconds from the leader, Davey Allison, at this point. Here's Earnhardt on the outside. Michael Waltrip right there. Tight running. Ernie Irvan right behind him. And Ricky Rudd in the number 5 car.
He is able to get underneath Earnhardt, or has a couple of times in the turns. His car, Michael Waltrip, staying very low, but he is not able to move completely around him. That has allowed Ricky Rudd and the car number 4 of Ernie Irvan to catch up.
Battle for 6. Let's go back to the 2nd position, and there you see Waltrip clambering up. He's in the 2nd spot. Schrader is in 3rd. Bill Elliott right there in 4th with the number 9. We've completed 20.
No surprise to see Bill Elliott running this good, Ken. The last time he was here racing in competition at the Charlotte Motor Speedway last October in a 500-mile event, he absolutely dominated the event until he had some problems late in the race. But that car was really, really working. And he is apparently back to the same setup today because it's working good again.
Chris?
Ned, what about it? Ned Jarrett, Darrell Waltrip, Ken Schrader, and Bill Elliott nose to tail. Is that going to get more speed? Will they be able to gain on Davey Allison this way?
Well, not quite as much, Chris, as if they were running at Daytona and Talladega. But certainly picking up a draft on the straightaway here can be helpful to you, especially if you're about to pass another car, as we're seeing Michael Waltrip trying to move around Dale Earnhardt with Ernie Irvan right on his bumper. That might help him a little bit, but then they have to back off going into the turns. And here they come, 3 abreast coming off of that turn, and Ernie Irvan came out ahead.
Banging, bumping down across the line. Meanwhile, that battle for seconds, they're having some real skirmishes out here before we get down to that 20-lap shootout. Here you see this battle with Ricky Rudd shooting back around those cars. Rudd getting himself in there. Michael Waltrip falls back to 8th. Dale Earnhardt in 9th. Now here comes Michael right back in again.
Yeah, and Hud Strickland is right behind them too. He has come from the rear as well as Michael Waltrip. Look at him. He touches Dale Earnhardt, just rams into him and moves right on around. Rusty Wallace goes around Earnhardt as well. Remember back at the Daytona 500 when Earnhardt and Hud Strickland got into it coming off of turn 4? The reverse situation?
Payback time. No points. No points. Just go
knows?
for it. And
Who
you can
knows?
see some smoke out on number 3. He may have bent something under that car. Here's Rusty Wallace challenging. Let's go down to Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, Ken, we were talking about Dale dropping back a little bit, and Richard, you said the car is really, really pushing a lot.
Yeah, from the center of the corner out, it's really just too tight, just pushing. You know, we was a little neutral yesterday, so we thought we'd be okay, so we didn't really take anything out of it this morning. So we can stay in the lead lap, we'll make some good adjustments.
If they can stay in the lead lap in that next segment, you can bet these guys will be working on that race car.
Richard Childress looking really up from under now on car number 3, which finds itself out of the top 10. Rusty Wallace, number 2, into 10th position. Earnhardt falling to 11th. Marlin is in 12th with car number 22 that came in from the open competition earlier. And look at Davey Allison. Boy, they have that timing chain pulled just as tight as they can, and hoping they've got it set to go the distance. That's the question with 25 of 50 laps complete in the first segment of the race. We'll return with more live coverage of the Winston from the Charlotte Motor Speedway after this word from your local station.
This CBS Sports Special, the Winston.
Thank you.
This CBS Sports Special, the Winston, is sponsored by Kawasaki. If it isn't Kawasaki, it isn't jet ski. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars. And by Norelco Lift and Cut Shavers for a new level of closeness and comfort.
First retiree, Bobby Hillen, has dropped a cylinder. We're now 29 laps into this 50-lap first segment of the Winston. And the first retiree...
Alan Kowicki had gone out a little bit early.
Second retiree is Kowicki. 2 down from the 20-car field. There are the standings through 30 laps, with Allison first, Waltrip second, Schrader third, Bill Elliott fourth, and Harry Gant in fifth.
And in sixth place now is the car number 4 of Ernie Irvin. Michael Waltrip is 7th, and Hutch Strickland in 8th position. 9th is Rusty Wallace, and 10th, Ricky Rudd.
Dale Earnhardt back in 11th. Sterling Marlin still in that 12th spot. That interval between first and second closes in a little. Was better than 2 seconds. Now 1 and 8, and maybe even tighter this time by.
And Darrell Waltrip does appear to be closing in just a little bit. Davey Allison has just been out there running by himself. No threats or no contention from anyone up to this point.
The number 27 car is going back to the garage area. It had parked on pit road, so it does officially become the second retiree from the event.
That was second, third, fourth, fifth place cars we're seeing there. Harry Gant in the 5th place car. Good battle back behind them for the 6th position between Ernie Irvin and Michael Waltrip.
Here's Mike Joy.
Well, Ken Schrader is now the 3rd place car. I'm on top of his pit wagon with Richard Broom. Richard, what did you change on the car in response to the weather and the green racetrack that's got Kenny going so well here?
Well, the only thing we done basically is maybe loosen the car up a little bit for today. But I don't know. We're a little bit down. We can't keep up with that 28 car.
And so far today, Ken, nobody can.
Certainly cannot. You know, Ed, in this race, as we watch the 30 car and the 4 get back into it again real good, and there's Michael Waltrip down to the bottom of the racetrack making his move, and he'll take 6 back for the moment. One of the things that's being said is that we haven't seen enough engines explode in this race, that they really don't know the limits these power plants can turn out in a 50-lap and 20-lap sprint. Back in '85, Darrell blew right on the finish line, but that's where you know just how far you can adjust that timing chain.
Well, I think most of them would set them pretty normal for this 50-lap race. When they gamble a little bit would be when there's only 20 laps to go. They'll jack that time, move that timing up. I say jack it up. That's sort of a word in racing, but what they do is move it up. Maybe the standard would be somewhere in the 35 to 36 degree range. They might move it up to 38. Some might gamble to move it up to 40. And yes, some of the engine builders are saying, hey, we've never gone to the limit. How far can we move that timing up, which gives them more horsepower?
And it looks like Robert Yates may have taken that gamble even in this 50-lapper, the way that thing tore out of here at the start.
Well, it's pretty well known around the garage area that his engines produce more horsepower than anyone else in Winston Cup racing.
We should point out that if there's a caution in the first 50 laps, those caution laps will count in the first 50.
That is correct, but in the last 20 laps, it does not count.
Let's go to Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, we're down here in the pits with Jeff Hammond. Jeff, you said the car was a little tight, now it's getting kind of neutral.
Yeah, Neil, when we first started out, he said the car had a little bit of too much push in it, so we, dropped back a little bit. They started working different lines on the racetrack and, picked it back up. And now as we went through the run, about halfway through, he called me back and said the car's starting to get a little loose on him. So now we got a little bit of a challenge here trying to figure out, well, do we need to free him up for a 20-lap run or we need to leave the car alone? That's the worst thing about this deal here is that you got to have it just right, because if it's too tight to begin with, they get away from you. If it's too loose, everybody gets around you, you can't get them back.
A lot of times when these cars are tight, you can fix them, but when you're doing both of them, it gets you to really scrambling.
With 37 laps complete, and you know you're going to be scrambling out here, do you just secure your position now, Ned, and wait it out for that last 20 laps?
Well, yes, I would say as far as Darrell Waltrip is concerned, certainly he won't take any chances, but if he can catch Davey Allison and pass him, he will, because he'd rather start first than second.
It'll be pretty hard to catch Davey Allison the way that number 28 is flying right now. Here he is completing lap number 38. Davey Allison in command. Waltrip second, Schrader third, Bill Elliott and Harry Gant round out the top 5. Back with more in a moment. Really? Okay. You just
shove it to him.
You just had you hurt Ned's feelings.
Oh, I was smiling. Kenny Wallace going to lap down here in a minute.
Interval 1 to 2.
It was 2.2.
I think it's less than that. I think he's got it down to 2 again. Thank you. averaging 169 miles an hour compared to the record of 163. Davey Allison has led from the outset of this event, but closing on him right now is Darrell Waltrip. It had been 2 2/10, and now it's like 1.5, 1.55 between first and second place. And it may be that Davey's willing, knowing he's got to fire it up and go again, to back off just a tad right now.
Well, I think Darrell Waltrip's car, as Jeff Hammond, his crew chief, said, was a little bit tight at the beginning, and it's coming to him. The longer you run normally with a tight race car, unless it's pushing awfully bad, the better it goes. Darrell Waltrip would like to see this race go green all the way and not have that last 20 under caution, but I mean, you know, have a timeout in between.
Derek Cope has pitted car number 10. Showed some sparks coming out of that, and Mike Joy is standing by in the Davey Allison pit.
Well, with 5 laps to go, Robert Yates is the car owner. Robert, has he beaten him on handling or horsepower or both?
A combination of both. This is horsepower and a handling track, and it's working real good for us right now.
We've speculated, how much timing do you dare crank into that engine?
Well, we thought about putting another couple degrees in it for the last 20 laps, but this thing holds up. I believe we'll leave it alone.
Okay. Let's go to Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, we're down here in the Derek Cope pit. As you can see, the exhaust pipe is broken loose on the center of the car and hanging out of the left rear. It's actually ran back and hung up on the quarter panel and stuff. He's got a big problem. He's got a lot of supports built under the car to hold that pipe, and they can't just snatch it out from under there. It's going to be a good little bit of work to get it off.
Problems continuing for the Whitcomb team, as they have since the outset of 1991. Here's Davey Allison, still by 1.5 seconds in front of Darrell Waltrip in second, Schrader in third, Elliott fourth, Harry Gant fifth, Michael Waltrip in the 6th position as we get down to the conclusion of this 50-lap run.
And Ken, a couple of cars have gone a lap down, but even though they haven't pitted, and they are Kenny Wallace in the Kyle Petty car, and Brett Bodine just went a lap down to the leader.
Final moments of the first 50-lap segment, dominated by Davey Allison. They did a lot of brake testing and finally came up with some pads that could really help them in qualifying. It made a big difference in getting them on pit road.
And he has taken advantage of it, put the car out front, and has just stayed there. 10-minute break coming up here in just 2.5 more laps. And you can bet your bottom dollar there'll be a lot of work going on this car. But Robert Yates indicated they're not going to do a whole lot to that car. Don't much blame him because it's running perfectly.
$75,000 to sit on the pole for this race. With the money coming up now, $50,000 to win this segment. In the concluding moments of the race, that $200,000 payoff, it's $325,000 potential. Can anybody do it? Earnhardt did it a year ago.
Well, he did. And the way Davey Allison's car has been running, he certainly is a candidate to do it again here today. He's coming up on Tommy Ellis, who is driving the Jeff Bodine car. Ellis fighting to stay out in the lead lap. There is Ellis. They're coming off. They should get the white flag this time around, I believe, Ken, indicating one more lap before the yellow will be thrown. Indeed, the white flag does come out.
White flag is down.
Roll forward the official flagman in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series.
Well, as you heard Robert Yates say, they're satisfied, but there's some others that very definitely going to have to crank some more juice into this.
Oh, yes, there's a lot of adjustments that needs to be made, and they certainly will be trying to make those.
Watching Ken Schrader there for a moment in 3rd spot, and there's Tommy Ellis about to go a lap down in number 11 to a streaking Davey Allison Ford as it comes down out of turn number 4. We have a caution out as they came across that time.
That's for the 50 laps.
50 laps down. And that prize money, $50,000 added to $75,000, puts him up to $125,000 thus far.
Pretty good. Lots of money.
$200,000 still sitting out there.
All right.
There you see the standings through 10 positions on the first 50-lap segment. The 20-lap shootout upcoming.
From the pits, maybe something from the press.
And you'll have a new lineup for the next segment, right?
Lineup?
Will you show them how they're going to grid in the
Yes,
segment?
we can,
It ought to be on this thing.
I know, but I would like to have this too.
Boy, he's right up on that pace car, isn't he? $15.
No lane changes. You say this caution does not count as an official call. 45. Just to even this segment.
Looks like it. Well, there's the countdown to when the ball drops on that battle for $200,000 to win, a 20-lap shootout. The field is now on pit road. They're changing tires. They're making those adjustments. The hoods are up on some of the cars as they ponder just exactly how far to go, how much risk they are willing to take, keep those engines lit, and try to get them back in their chase after Davey Allison, this young man who has driven so outstandingly since, well, remember in '87 we saw him as the only rookie to sit on the pole at Daytona, Ned. He's certainly followed along in the Allison tradition, hasn't he?
Oh, no question about it. The genes are there, and he's just a tremendous race driver.
Darrell Waltrip in the conference. Here's Mike Joy.
Have a word with his driver. Go ahead, Robert. We'll just listen in.
Hey, what was the water temp? 175?
Water temperature run about 175, the oil was about 190.
Yeah, you want to tape up a little bit?
Let's close it off a little bit. You know, you need to get
10 degrees of water?
Yeah.
Davey, you about sure had him covered on that. That's about the finest bunch of laps you could run here.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, the car's driving perfect. Robert, all the guys in the engine shop got me a horse under the hood. And Larry and all the guys have just worked. They've done everything I've asked them to do on the chassis this week, and I think it's paying off. But we still got that 20-lap segment to go, and there's a lot of people that were laying back. So we'll see what happens.
And that's the tough one. They're doing hardly anything under the hood here, the Davey Allison car. They are taping up the grill inlet because the water and oil temperature was a bit cool, but they're making no changes on this car. Here's Neil Bonnet.
Yeah, we're here with Darrell Waltrip, and y'all go ahead and tell your crew guys you need to get some work done on this.
Okay. I'm in good shape. We got to do a little something here to get just a teeny bit better. My car's way too tight on account of the weather. I had it set for that hot, slick 90-degree weather. Now it's just plowing the front end. If I could change it a little bit right here, just a teeny bit, I might have a chance. Otherwise, I don't have a chance. Davey's awful tough.
Yeah, but I tell you, you're making some good moves. You really got up there, and you're actually closing the gap on him a little bit, Darrell.
It seemed like, I think, Neil, you know how it is when the guy's got a lot faster car than you do, and he kind of keeps that gap between you and him. I felt like a fish. I'd reel him in, he'd let me loose. I'd reel him in, he'd let me loose. I think he was just riding.
You might better set the drag on that rod a little bit tighter.
I ain't got enough drag.
Okay, back to you, Mike.
Neil, I've moved up with Kenny Schrader, who wound up third in that first blast, and you got pretty close to the front. You got a good look at Davey Allison anyway. What's it going to take to catch him?
Well, I'll tell you what, we were real tight, so we got a couple things to do to loosen this little thing up. So I think we got a lot left now. If we got enough left now, I don't know, but we got a lot left.
Now, you can't change springs or sway bars, Kenny, but what can you do to loosen the car up?
Well, we had a spring rubber in the right front, so we're going to take it out. We'll soften up the spring rate in the right front. We're raising the rear panhard bar, which is like the rear sway bar. And I had a little bit of brake problem getting in, so we're adjusting our brakes some. And then we're just going to stand on it a little more. This is the last 20 money laps here.
Okay, Kenny Schrader ready to go and try to track down Davey Allison. Let's go back upstairs.
Kenny Schrader, currently third. been here twice and finished second both times. Can he improve? We'll see.
Everybody knows this is a 2.5-minute break. Down to like 4 minutes by the time we get out of this thing. I don't know when they're going to start their engines. One thing I need from graphics is that starting order. How close are you?
Ireland, $20,000. Strickland, $16,000. Schrader, $10,000.
What are the average speeds on this next segment? I can't figure it out.
Ireland, $20,000. 16, Schrader.
Yes, sir. Boy, am I glad I didn't do that. Ned was pushing me, too.
I thought that was a big story.
Let's come right back to Neil Bonnet. We'll come right back to the exact what we'll do is we'll come back if everything's going well to the clock the same way we left. Live locator with the clock, and then when we'll stand, then we'll go Neil Bonnet will start first, and then go to Mike.
Commercial position in the break.
1 minute back.
That's a new record.
Stand by, everybody. 15 seconds. Put the font in on this if you can, and then Neil will cue you.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm right inside the car here with Dale, and he's telling me to hop the rest of the way in. But they've certainly done a lot of work on your car, Dale. They changed the rear panic bar and a lot of stuff, and your guys are really hustling right now.
Yeah, look, Neil, we couldn't get to the back fast enough. It looked like a car was real awful tight. We thought we had it neutral enough, but we worked on it some more, did a few adjustments, and try to get it freed up. Maybe we can pass a few of these cars, but that 28's awful tough. Now, I don't know if we can do anything with him or not, but we're going to try to get back up there and race some of these guys.
All right, Dale, we'll see what to do. Here we are with Mike Joy.
Well, they're rolling Mike Waltrip's car to the line as we walk along. What'd you change after that segment?
Tires.
And that's it?
Yeah, we're real happy with our Pontiac. We started so far back that it was real hard to make any more progress than we did, but if we can get a good break on the start, we can contend. I just hope we can get a good jump. I guess that's what makes this race so exciting. There's 10 or 12 other people thinking they can win the race if they get a good start.
You came way to the front in a hurry and then really got in a big box full of traffic.
Well, I caught a car straight away in a lap, and then he wants to race me like it's the checker flag for the Daytona 500. I don't usually do business like that, but I guess in the Winston, it's a lot of money. It's every man for himself, so we had to get through that, and then we ran well after that.
Okay, Mike Waltrip ready to go at it again. Ken?
Starting from 6th position as we get down to the finale. Stay with us. 20 laps to decide it all upcoming here this afternoon in the Winston.
One more time, come back. We're going to do the red as they start this last segment.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't have the IFB in yet, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is Victory Lane.
Chris, I don't need to see you, do I?
Yeah, I'm getting it in. Hang on. Talk to me on IFB. Yes, I do. Bye.
That's okay.
With 1 minute and 24 seconds remaining to the start of the second segment, the finale. Cars are being rolled up behind the pace car, and here's how they'll line up. Davey Allison and Darrell Waltrip for the front row. Schrader and Bill Elliott are in row number 2. Row 3 is Harry Gant and Michael Waltrip. In row 4, Ernie Urban, Hut Strickland. Row 5 will be Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd. Row 6 is Morgan Shepherd, and the surprising Dale Earnhardt. Going to row 7, there you find Sterling Marlin and Mark Martin not having a good day. Row 8 is Tommy Ellis and Brett Bodine. In row 9, it's Kenny Wallace and Derek Cope, and Bobby Hillen rounds out the field. Let's go to Chris Economic.
What we've heard these drivers say reveals how high-tech stock car racing has become. A little tweak, a screwdriver on a screw, a wrench on a bolt makes all the difference in the world. You heard Dale Earnhardt say that we really have a high-tech situation here, and the absence of bias-ply tires where they could use the air pressure to make a car handle better, they're on radials, and they can't do that now. And as far as changing the cars, if I was Robert Yates on Davey Allison's car, I wouldn't even wipe the windshield.
What would you do, Ned?
Well, I don't know. It was interesting to hear the dialogue between Davey Allison and Robert Yates when they said that they're going to tape it up a little bit to get the temperature of the engine up. Okay, that's well and good, because it should make the engine perform a little bit better, because normally they set these engines and build them so that they operate best at temperatures from 190 to 200 degrees. But when you put that tape on the front end of it, it's going to loosen that chassis up a little bit, and the car looked like it was handling so well. Be interesting to see if it does have any effect on the handling of it. Field rolling, coming out for the finale of the Winston. Neil?
Yeah, you know, they're talking about strategy down here. This is what these guys have been working for a week. Hey, the Winston Open had pit stop. This thing had a pit stop. Now the driver gets to do the thing he wants to do. Totally in his hands. There's not going to be more time to go racing. They're fixing to mash the gas. Here we go, Mike Joy.
Well, Neil, we talked to some of the engine builders about their strategy for these final 20 laps, and the highest number I heard was Ken Wilson on Mike Waltrip's car, 39 degrees of ignition advance. He said he might try another 2 degrees, but he didn't think his heart or the motor would stand it.
That's high. That's putting it up there pretty good, no question about it. I think 40 would have been absolutely
on the way to the moon.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you're going to gamble, now is the time. This is a single file restart. Single file restart. Let's take a look at the past finishes in this event. This was the famous 1987 pass in the grass.
Bill Elliott coming up fast on Dale Earnhardt. He taps him.
170 miles an hour, just picked it up right here and below us. One right on. And 1989, who's ever going to forget this one, Ned?
Darrell Waltrip leading the race. Rusty Wallace comes up on him, taps him just slightly, sends Waltrip spinning in the infield. Rusty goes on to win the race as the crews get into it.
They say it happens every other year. This is the other year.
It is. Last year was pretty calm.
Well, they say usually if you miss the preliminary, you miss the show many times here. Today's preliminary was a darn good race, but it wasn't that side-by-side that we saw between the late Robbie Moroso and Dick Trickle a year ago. This one is building, and you know that Waltrip, although he was saying that fell up in front was fishing with him, it's a question of who's fishing with whom.
Yeah, that's right. $200,000 at stake. Boy, I'll tell you, they will go at it, no question about it.
Did you ever win $200,000 in a season, Ned?
I hardly won $200,000 in my career.
And you won 50 races?
Yeah, and 2 championships along the way. I think it was about $333,000 was the total.
Ken Schrader's car in trouble.
Yeah, he's got a problem over between turn 3 and 4, and they're coming around. The yellow flag is still waving, but Ken Schrader's car apparently has just quit.
Oh, that's a terrible break for the Rick Hendrick team. We don't seem to. He's making some kind of adjustment on the seatbelt. The 5-point system wasn't hitched up.
Yeah, apparently the thing, his system was not hooked up, and he wanted to get it cleared away. And he didn't have his gloves on either, I don't believe, and he decided to stop and put gloves on. Strange that he would have done that on the turn
but that's where he chose to do it.
So been making some kind of adjustment. Anyway, Schrader is back underway. And we're getting set for these final 20 laps. $875,000 payoff on this one event, 7th annual. Davey Allison seeking to win it for the first time. Davey's been here on 4 previous occasions. Best finish was 3rd back in 1988. And Schrader has stopped again.
Yeah.
So it's more than safety equipment, that's for sure.
Well, I don't know. That is sort of strange. And he's stopping on the banks of the turn each time. That is a little bit strange. He had caught up to the field and was about to try to go on past them a little bit, but now sitting over there, I guess they'll have to keep the caution out for one more lap.
Got it fired.
Yep, he has it fired again, and here the yellow flag still waving. Certainly they couldn't start the race with the car sitting over there right in the groove on turn 2, so now Schrader beginning to pick up speed. So whether he's doing that to adjust his safety equipment or not, I don't know.
I think NASCAR would have a word if he was.
Well, now let's see if he's going to be able to move back into his 3rd position.
They have no radio communication. They've lost radio contact from the pits over to car number 25. Here he is coming down by again, and they're getting set for a go.
Well, they just black flagged him as he went around that time. Apparently they think that he might have been purposely sitting over there to keep the yellow flag out and the green flag from waving, but now he has gotten the black flag.
I guess the question will be why. Mike Joy?
Ken Schrader's seat belts came undone. There's a latch that carries the 2 shoulder harnesses, the 2 seat belts, and the crotch strap, and it just came unbuckled. So he had to stop and get it all hooked up back up again, and now he's together.
Happened twice. Number 27, which had swallowed a valve, or at least that's what they had reported, is coming back on the track. Bobby Hillen is coming back out. This extra time, he will start dead last in the number 27 car, driving for Raymond Beadle today. McField coming by.
Being given the signal for one more lap. Now, the black flag is not out this time, Ken, so apparently NASCAR has made communication with Ken Schrader's pit crew, found out the reason, and certainly he didn't need to take the green flag with his safety equipment loose. And so they said, okay, that was the case then, we let you go.
You ever have a seat belt unhitch on you?
Yeah, not a very pleasant feeling either.
Did you pull in? Did you keep racing?
I pulled in, yes sir, because you don't need to be out there racing at all if that safety equipment is not
and in
only
those days, that
up,
was just a lap belt in those.
That's true. Then eventually we got shoulder harness and
the shoulder harness made a big difference, didn't it?
Oh, yes. Yes, it was a big help in keeping your upper body in shape when you hit a wall or something like that.
All right, we're down to it. Light is off on the pace car, and we're set for the start. Davey Allison in 1st, Darrell Waltrip in 2nd, Schrader is in 3rd, Bill Elliott is in 4th, Harry Gant 5th, Michael Waltrip in that 6th spot. What a run he's had. Ernie Irvin is 7th. Hut Strickland has done a tremendous job today. He finds himself now 8th. Rusty Wallace in 9th. Ricky Rudd is in 10th. Pace car is in. Morgan's 11th. Dale Earnhardt 12th. Sterling Marlin 13th. Mark Martin 14th. Elliott there in 15th. On the break. And Davey Allison goes right back to him.
You can see a few of them mixing up back there. Harry Gant down on the inside. Michael Waltrip goes around him. Ernie Irvin trying to go around as well.
And Darrell Waltrip closes in. Davey Allison not walking away this time.
And the black flag is in the flagman's hand. Let's see if he's going to give it. It might be a stop and go penalty for someone.
Field coming by.
Might be Morgan Shepherd. Apparently
Indeed.
Yeah, Morgan Shepherd, apparently he jumped the flag on the restart.
Passed on the left.
And they were told in the driver's meeting they could only pass on the right side on the restart.
There's the front 3. Davey Allison there, 17, Waltrip in 2nd, Schrader in 3rd, and moving around quickly, Michael Waltrip in the number 30, cutting through cars on the outside, moves around Harry Gant. Michael Waltrip now in 5th and closing on Bill Elliott, number 9.
And boy, Ken Schrader just moved around Darrell Waltrip while we were watching that battle back in the pack. And apparently the adjustments they made on his car has worked well. Here's Morgan Shepherd taking that stop-and-go penalty. That's going to put him out of contention unless a caution comes out. He will have no chance in 20 laps of finishing high in this race.
Bobby Hillen pulls back out of the race after just a lap. Coming around, it's Davey Allison first by 8 car lengths. Schrader second, Waltrip third, Elliott fourth, Michael Waltrip to fifth.
Rusty Wallace trying to move around the car number 12 of Hut Strickland, and he does so. Ricky Rudd in the orange and white car number 5, and here's Earnhardt. Apparently the adjustments they made on his car, moving on the inside of Ricky Rudd, and there's Rusty Wallace.
Down right below that 33 and taking Strickland with him, and here comes Earnhardt as well.
Boy, Harry Gant's car is not working nearly as well now as he did earlier, so the adjustments they made on his car, it looks like a backfire. Gant still holding on to that position, which is the number 7 position.
Here's that number 3 of Earnhardt diving down to the inside, and Gant holds him off this time. If anybody can manhandle him on the inside, it's here. Allison building up a lead once again, has it by 20 car lengths this time by. Schrader maintains second. Ford, Chevy, Ford. Top 4. First Pontiac is Michael Waltrip back there in 5th, or rather in 6th, and right behind him Wallace in 7th with another Pontiac. But it's a Ford-Chevy battle up in front.
And Ford hasn't had too much to crow about so far this year, Ken. They have not won a Winston Cup race. They have won a number of poles, but they have not pulled off a win, and this would be a big one for them.
Davies won a couple of those poles, and that car up in front, number 28. 6 laps down. 14 to go, and you see Davey Allison building that advantage another time. Schrader holding right on in 2nd spot. 3rd is Waltrip. 4th is Elliott. 5th is Ernie Irvan closing.
Yeah, he has renewed life. Michael Waltrip had outrun him in that first 50-lap segment. Now he has moved away from, we're talking about Ernie Irvan as he moves on the inside of Bill Elliott.
Number 4.
Yep, so they certainly made the right adjustments to that car.
Going even out of turn number 2. For 4th spot, Elliott on the outside, Irvan on the inside. Another Ford Chevy battle.
The crowd is on its feet. They've been standing since the green flag dropped, and probably will until the checkered flag drops.
8 complete. Still all Davey Allison. Did Robert Yates guess right?
Certainly appears as if he did. And I believe they did say that the car was a little bit tight, and maybe those few strips of tape was all he needed, certainly to heat the engine up, and then also to make it a little bit looser as Ernie Irvan goes on the inside of Bill Elliott, trying to take over 4th.
With all of our weather problems today and so forth, the race running a bit long. We'll stay with it to the finish for you. Just watching Davey Allison with 11 to go, continuing to crank out more power and draw away from Schrader. An amazing run by Robert Yates and company. Davey Allison at the controls. Here's that battle that continues to be a dandy. It's 4th. Number 9, Elliott on the outside. On the inside, Ernie Irvan. On the number 30 is Michael Waltrip, trying to stack them 3 wide out of 4.
Wow, he got a good run off that, picked up the draft of the 2 cars and moved right down on the inside. And that sort of shoots Ernie Irvan back behind Elliott.
Halfway flag is on the field. Pace 200,000 to win. 2nd spot, 82,500. Allison continuing to draw a bead. Out of 4. Davey Allison unrelenting. Building on that lead every lap. There's nothing to save here. It's now 1 5/10 of a second between 1st and 2nd place. Waltrip, he's fallen back another 2nd behind 2nd place Schrader. The battle continues to be Bill Elliott, Ernie Irvan, and Michael Waltrip as they contest the 4th position as we come down toward the finish. 12 laps down. 1 7/10 of a second as Davey Allison is making a mark here, some of it involving psyching the other teams from the 600-mile race a week from now on this same track. Here's Mike Joe.
Ken, the pit chart for Davey Allison indicates he's now running laps every bit as fast as he was in the first 4 or 5 laps of this race. And they're also keeping track of the 2nd place car. Every time by, Davey is some 0.2 of a second quicker than Kenny Schrader.
Plowing away at turn number 1 into turn number 2. It's just an impressive ride. That's all you can say about what Davey Allison and Robert Gates have put together with this racing team. Here's Neil Bonnet.
Ken, you know, during the break, Schrader said the only thing he could do anymore was put the throttle down a little bit harder. He's got it down as hard as it'll go right now. The question is, can he close on Davey? He says he doesn't have anything left. He's as hard as it'll go right now.
As Dale Earnhardt had this field covered 1 year ago, won everything there was to win on this weekend, the story is now Davey Allison. 8 Winston Cup victories to his credit. But here's the one that has eluded him, the $200,000 payday for winning the Winston.
Already has $125,000 in the bank.
As we were mentioning earlier, it's $325,000 total if he just can keep that nose out in front.
Now that makes up my total career if he goes on and gets this.
In one afternoon.
Yeah. Like a little article in the funny paper, born 30 years too soon.
Chris Economaki.
Down here on pit side, it's starting to rain again. A few drops of rain are falling. Whether it'll affect the handling of the cars, we don't know, but it wants to rain.
Yes, it will affect the handling of the cars, Chris. It very much falls, although they just have a few laps to go. But if it, with the cars out there running, it takes more than just a few drops, but it doesn't take a whole lot to make the track very slick because these tires do not have tread on them.
3.5 laps to go as Davey Allison streaks down the back straightaway, being chased by this man, Ken Schrader, out of Missouri. It's now 2 5/10 of a second by which he's drawn away. He just hasn't put a shoe out of place all afternoon.
As you said, a very impressive run, just a perfect run here this afternoon. Even though Earnhardt dominated this thing a year ago and took home all that money, he didn't pull away as much as Davey Allison has pulled away in both of these events.
Well, the Alabama gang looks like they're going to put one together here for the first time in the Winston. It's Davey Allison as time runs out. 18 when they come by this time complete. There'll be a couple to go. And he has drawn that bow just about as tight as you can do it. There's the 2-lap indicator. White flag next time by.
And with those raindrops coming down there, driving very, very carefully. Good battle going on back. Ernie Irvan trying to move around Bill Elliott for the 4th place as Davey Allison just sits. Here's that battle. Ernie Irvan and Chevrolet on the inside of the Ford of Bill Elliott. That is for the 4th position. But they have to be awfully careful with those raindrops on their windshield. They know that make the track a little slicker, the white flag.
Final lap is underway. And once again, the mists have settled in. A little sprinkle in the air as we get down to finish this one. Drama is the battle with the weatherman as Davey Allison pops up out of the hole in turn number 2. Drag races down the back straightaway. Davey Allison headed for victory.
And Ernie Irvan slipped coming off of turn 2, almost spun out. And Bill Elliott won that battle, but Michael Waltrip's about to pass him as Davey Allison comes to the line.
Davey Allison is going to take it home. He's going to win. 2nd place is going to Schrader. 3rd spot for Waltrip. 4th to the number 9 of Bill Elliott. And what about 5th?
Well, it was almost a dead heat, but I think the number 4 car got it. It was just maybe by 6 or 8 inches.
Nearly too close to call, but not the case up in front. Davey Allison dominated everything this weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And he's put his name in the record book as one who has led from flag to flag, from the outset, right to the checkers. It's been all Davey Allison in car number 28, winning some $325,000 as he caps the day with this $200,000 win over Ken Schrader, Darrell Waltrip, Bill Elliott, and Ernie Irvin. And there's the round out of the top 10. Michael Waltrip, Wallace, Strickland, Gant, Dale Earnhardt, last year's winner, finds himself in 10th place. So for Chris Economaki, Ned Jarrett, Mike Joy, and Neil Bonnet, Ken Squire saying so long from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Join us next Saturday on CBS Sports, 1 o'clock Eastern, for Major League Baseball. LA Dodgers travel to Cincinnati, taking on the Reds, or Cleveland at Milwaukee, followed by third round action of the Southwestern Bell Colonial from Fort Worth, Texas.
This CBS Sports Special, The Winston, has been sponsored by Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every single team that qualified for the Winston. Fram, Bendix, and Autolite, quality products of Allied Signal. And by new Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. Add more life to your car.
The Winston has been a presentation of CBS Sports.